Well, I'm talking about my eyes. Not here, but yeah, in my eyes it's going to be brutal. I wish we could make this brighter.
Yeah, Dash, here you go, baby. There you go.
Number 17, Ben Lewis.
Walking out there now.
Number 19, Ethan Pollock. Number 20, Chase Cunningham. Number 24, Rory Orloff.
Get your souls up, get your souls up, get your souls up. Here we go, Rory. Go,
In goes the top speed, lays out, makes the play. It's Cassidy who elevates and scores. Forward grab, boy. Here we go. Let's go, boys. Come on now.
Today, April 2nd, 2016, will forever go down in AUDL history as the day the sport of Ultimate Disc dawns its first Texas two-step. Here in the Colony, two new franchises, the Dallas Roughnecks and the Austin Soul, will take the field for the first time as a new chapter is started in the sport of Ultimate Disc. It's a beautiful but breezy day here just north of Dallas as we are set to begin the 5th AUDL season. Welcome everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald with Paige Schnorbach down on the field. And Emmy, a huge day for the sport of professional Ultimate Disc, huge day for Texas. The state has always been a huge talent pool for the sport. How important is it to not only get one team but two new franchises to be able to come in here and grow the sport as a whole?
It's great, and I think that the fans have been waiting for this. That the fans have been waiting for this for a long time, and we've been fortunate to be able to have the USAU Club Championships in Frisco, really close by for the past 2 years. And now that we can have the professional level. Previously, the club championship was the highest level that we could have, and the fans came to expect that. But now that there's an even higher level and it's all of these all-stars in one place, the excitement has just been so high, not only in Dallas, but across the country and really from a global footprint.
And also Dallas, as the franchise themselves, the Roughnecks have done a really good job of bringing some ultimate talent into the Metroplex with additions like Bo Kittredge and Jimmy Mickle. How important is it for the team as a whole to be able to use that talent to their advantage, as they are already pretty much favorites in this AUDL season?
Well, I know about a year ago, owner Jim Garansher told me, I'm going to go get these guys because I want to win the title. And that is a very, very lofty statement, and something that these players will, they will take, they will shrug at a little bit, but at the same time, they're here and they're determined. They've moved to Dallas to be able to just do this for the city and for the sport. We're just trying to grow the sport of Ultimate even more, and it's just so neat to see all these talented players on one field.
And this team on the other side, the Austin Soul, coming in here, it's a new rivalry game, maybe kindle a little bit of a fire. These guys, a lot of these guys are local on the Soul side. How important is it for them to be able to come in here confident, even though they're coming up against some tough competition in the Roughnecks? It's not over until it's over. There's a reason why they play the games. How important is it for them to come in and start off early?
Absolutely. Well, earlier in warm-ups, assistant coach Ryan Purcell said, we want to hustle. We want to hustle. Don't be a hero, be a hustler. And the Austin Soul have a lot of athletes that they can really bring to the table, a lot of size and speed that they're really going to count on in this game. And even though they're the, quote, underdogs, they are a stacked roster filled with really talented players who have played with a lot of the Dallas players as well on Austin Double Wide, on HIP, through different college teams. So it will really be an exciting matchup where both teams are going to have to work very hard for the win.
And then you talked about the owner, and Big Jim is what we like to call him at the Roughnecks. He is very involved, along with a lot of these players, in the Eric Foundation. I know you're involved with that. How about you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Well, early recognition is critical, is the official charity of the AUDL, and that's great because it allows these teams to go into schools and give clinics to teach kids about the sport, and then also teach them body symptom awareness, especially for the detection of cancer symptoms. You know, if you can detect cancer early, then you have a fighting chance of beating it. And that just goes so hand in hand with the sport of ultimate, never giving up, having that integrity, speaking up for yourself. So it's just so neat to be able to have this cause that we're connecting with. And that's something that's just very, very dear to, you know, Jim's heart, and so many of the players that, you know, multiple times a week the Roughnecks players are hosting clinics throughout DFW, and it's just, I've been to several of those clinics myself, and it's just very moving to see the kids that are just so excited and energized, and then at the same time we're able to introduce them to a sport that they may not have heard of or may not have realized it was as competitive and as athletic as it is.
Definitely. It's going to be an exciting day here in the Colony.
they a lot of their players come from just a lot of different philosophies of playing. Dylan Freechild hasn't played with the rest of the team except for Bo and Jimmy with the team Eric that played at Manila Spirits. And as a handler, he controls a lot of that offense and is also very integral, kind of keeping the offense flowing. More chemistry is required with that. So I think it'll just be really neat to see that come together and how they stack up against the Soul. You could have all of the hype in the world. We've had all of these articles written about the Roughnecks, but once that first poll comes up, you have to really check it out.
And we'll take a moment here and pause for the national anthem. We'll be right back with more. Beautiful scene here in the Colony, Texas, as we are just about ready for the opening pool. The Dallas Roughnecks in their first ever franchise game as they take on their newly founded rivals, the Austin Soul. Thanks again for joining us here on DallasRoughnecks.com. A great crowd on hand. More still filing in, a big line at the check-in. It's a good sight if you're an Ultimate Frisbee fan or just a sports fan in general. We thank you for joining us here. Amy, what else are you looking forward to? It's all around exciting day. It's opening day. There's so many questions that need to be answered and that will be answered in the next couple hours of game time.
Well, and I think especially those who are new to the AUDL, which most of our Dallas and Austin fans are, so shout out to all of the Dallas and Austin fans who couldn't make it out to the Colony today. Thank you guys for tuning in. But I wanted to point out just a few things that are different about AUDL. The size, the regulation field is different. So regulation field is 80 yards by 53.5 yards, and the end zones are 20 yards deep. So, a little bit larger than Ultimate. The stall count is 7 seconds rather than 10 seconds, and the official is the one that's actually counting that. So when someone's on defense, they're marking the thrower. They really shouldn't audibly stall count because they're giving an unfair advantage over to the thrower. And some other differences, obviously we have officials, so there's a yardage penalty whenever there is a foul or travel can result in a turnover rather than just receiving the disc again. But I think we're going to go to Paige, who's standing by with Mike Nattenberg, the coach of the Austin Soul.
Let's go.
I'm here with Austin Soul coach Mike Nattenberg. Coach, is your team ready for this first game?
Yeah, we're nice and loose. I think we're as prepared as we're going to be this early in the season, but yeah, we're looking forward to it.
What's the mood of your team going in?
Thankfully loose. Hopefully we come out and we're going to show that we're not tight here. And yeah, we're feeling confident.
All right, thank you so much. Good luck, coach.
So Dallas has the disc. Dylan Freechild up for the pull, and the game is on.
We are officially underway in the Colony. Dallas sends it to the Soul as they set up their offense. And send in, there's going to be an early, looks like that disc touched the ground. Instead, there's the call right there. It's going to say it's touched the ground. That'll be an early turnover for the Soul.
It's that squirrely wind, and I'm sure there are a lot of nerves right now as well. Everyone's just been so anxious for that moment. Now, looks like there's a lot of handler movement that Dallas is trying to initiate here.
Yeah, Freechild's going to hand it off to Larberg. Just dumping it back and forth right now, trying to get someone open downfield, trying to work it around that far sideline, sending it deep in the back of the end zone. He's going to lay out, and he won't be able to make the catch.
What a bid, though. Ultimate fans, that's what we come to see, are those bids. So I'm really glad that Larberg was able to start us off with a nice bid, even if it wasn't for a completion.
It was a good throw, just wasn't able to come up with it. Chris Larberg in the back of the end zone. That one's going to be up in the air, and that one's going to be snagged down by Matt Jackson. Dumped off to Freechild as they'll set up the offense for the Roughnecks. Who's going to score their first point in franchise history? That's a big question right now.
So we see our first scoober of the game from none other than Matt Bennett. So I'd love to, I'm sure our statistician is keeping track of his scoobers, which are never in short supply. And I got to tell you, he's just such a fun player to watch, especially with a giant cup surrounding him.
It's definitely going to be unconventional, as that one's going to fly just out of the reach of Matt Jackson as he was jumping high, just couldn't get up near it. And there's another turnover. The Soul have a chance now to open the scoring. They're going to send it deep.
So it looks like the punt and play D is what the Soul is trying to employ right now.
That one's going to be knocked down by Matt Bennett. The Soul was looking for Rory Orloff downfield.
So that's a tactic that a lot of teams use, especially in windy condition, because you'd much rather turn it over close to your own end zone rather than the opponent's end zone. And now the Roughnecks have to work it all the way up the field and depend on that handler movement.
Just over 3 minutes, or almost 3 minutes gone already, and no points scored yet. That's what the wind will do to an ultimate disc match. Freechild being double teamed right now. He's going to dump it back off.
It's almost
sending
like
forward, and that one's going to be snagged. Nope, that one's going to hit the ground.
Called down again.
Chris Larberg tried with a sliding effort, unable to come up with it. The Soul are running. Open in the back of the end zone is Orloff, and he can't get it.
But
Just didn't have enough speed.
Now you can see the benefit of the Soul doing that huck and play D strategy. So when they had a turnover, now they were basically in the red zone. But I guess the point's already too long. It looks like timeout is called, and the players are headed on the field. It seems like both teams were really trying to make a splash early on, which is why you had some of those big throws go up. And but you know, I think the wind really is playing a factor.
I mean, there was the overthrow from two Soul players right there, both trying to find Rory Orloff in the back of the end zone. The disc just kept flying and out of his reach, and then on the other end, an overthrow as well. That could be potentially from the wind, or just like you said earlier, the jitters. It's opening day. Everybody's excited. Everybody's new. Like you said, there's a lot of new players to the AUDL, and it's a different style of play. It's the best players in the world out here on the field today.
And anytime you're starting a game, you want to be the first team to score. Some people have superstitions about if you're the first team to score, does that mean you're going to win? Or if you take half, what does that mean? But bottom line, you want to start with that momentum and really continue it. But now it looks like the Soul are going to trap Brandon Malachek at the double team in the corner there of the end zone, while the Roughnecks really have the field spread out. And Jimmy Mickle is poached. So we'll see if he signals that, and if Chris Sackman is far off enough.
Yeah, it's basically a whole new team out on the field for the Roughnecks. Both Bo Kittredge and Jimmy Mickle are in the game, along with Matt Costello and Ben Laurie. They're Work it up to Mickle. Look for a long throw right here. No pressure on him, which is kind of interesting to me. There's the pressure now after a little bit of a stall.
It looked like they started with that double team. They had to really play in the lanes and have that poach D, but as a result, somebody's always open.
And there's
Now,
Bo Kittredge going deep down the field. He's got a man on him. He's going to go up and he's going to knock it down. Just couldn't keep his hand on the disc. The hats go flying, the bodies go flying, and the disc falls safely to the ground. And the Soul going to send it the other way, trying to make a splash and just out of the reach. That one was looking for Chase Cunningham, just a little bit out of reach. Roughnecks setting up their offense on the near sideline. Gonna be dumped off. As he finds Rasmussen for Bo in the back of the end zone.
Oh,
Bo Kittredge
stay with
tips
it.
it and he holds onto it for the first goal in Dallas Roughnecks history, none other than Bo Kittredge.
So you have that revolver connection, and the second Rasmussen caught that disc in power position and you see Bo charging towards the end zone, it was over. And that is what their relationship has been on the field, and that connection. In fact, they were roommates before Bo moved to Dallas. So they're very familiar with each other, and it just seems fitting that Bo would score that bobbling catch to be the first point of the game. How exciting.
First point in franchise history for the Dallas Roughnecks goes to Bo Kittredge. And of course it was assisted by Cassidy Rasmussen, his teammate from the San Jose Spiders, winning back-to-back championships before they decided to come team up in Dallas. That's what the fans paid to come see. That's what everybody wanted to see, was that connection. They are not disappointed.
And you could see a bit of defeat in the Soul, but I mean, this is a long, long game, and I think it's very important for both teams to really stay on their heels. That pull sailing out of bounds on the home side there, but it's a long game, and have to shake it off either way. I mean, you see two players from the Soul and Roughnecks even hugging each other on the field. I mean, that's how much these guys already know each other. They're just so used to playing with each other, so playing against each other is just another interesting dynamic.
A little bit more lateral movement coming from the Soul as they're finally sending it up D
what
almost.
What a bid by Dalton Smith.
This one's going to go up in the end zone, and that one's going to be snagged for the Austin Soul's first point.
So it's hard to compete with 6'6", and Ethan Pollock certainly brings the height. Reed Bacon made a very valiant bid, but that's your big threat when you're out there for Pollock to really come down with it. And
so after having the first point take 4 minutes and 13 seconds, the second point takes just a little bit over 10 seconds, and the Soul are right back in it as we are tied at 1. Just Pollock being able to leap up over the defense. Almost not even close.
Right. And just like Cassidy and Bo really had that connection, on the other side of the disc, that double wide connection there was that existing chemistry. So it's now you can see a little more pep in their step, and but that just gives the Roughnecks offense opportunity to work it out more. So it looks more similar to our starting lineup. The super long point.
So the Roughnecks have it again. Kittredge has it after falling over a little bit. Gonna send it upfield, and a nice little effort there by Rasmussen. He's gonna send it deep, looking for Mickle in the end zone. There it is. Jimmy Mickle gets his first goal of the season. A beautiful throw, beautiful huck from Rasmussen.
He has such a quick, smooth release, and his throws are always so flat as well, and I think that is just a real advantage, especially, the wind, I think now it seems it's died down since the beginning of the game anyway, but he was really able to lead Jimmy just so well, and Jimmy was closely guarded by TCU double-wide standout Michael Mathis, but thankfully Jimmy was aware of his surroundings, was able to jump into the end zone for that score.
Beautiful play, beautiful hug, a beautiful reception in the end zone by Jimmy Mickle makes it a 2-1 lead for the Dallas Roughnecks as they get ready to pull. Gonna send it deep. See what what the Soul tried to do.
Oh,
And that was going
was
to take a
great
huge
pull.
bounce.
Rolling out of bounds.
And out of the fencing.
Out
also.
of the fence. So new game disc coming on the field. But even so, the Soul had to take it in the back of their end zone
There's a turnover.
and turned it over. Huge advantage for the Roughnecks. Now there appears to be some discussion with the official, but so now the disc is going back to the Soul.
Looks like it's going to be a foul called on the Roughnecks. It looks like the Soul are going to reset their offense. They're going to send it deep, trying to go over the top of the Roughnecks, and he's going to make the reception.
Nice bid,
Joel Clutton. They're going to dump it off. They're going to work it laterally to Clutton. Soul trying to tie it back up at 2. Roughnecks unable to catch that break in the back of the end zone. And it's going to send it forward. Back to Clutton.
Soul really using the break side.
Up in the end zone, the disc is going to come down. Jared Wolf in the back corner of the end zone makes the score. And the goal ties it back up at 2.
Yeah, it seems to be an ultimate 101 concept, but you've really got to hold that force. And the Soul had several breaks in a row, which allowed for that fantastic catch by, in the end zone.
Yeah, Chris Larberg got up there, just didn't have enough physicality, wasn't able to get high enough or get enough contact to try and force that disc to be knocked down. So tied up at 2 here in the Colony. The first game for both of these teams, both of these franchises new to the AUDL. An exciting day for the sport of professional ultimate frisbee.
And certainly wouldn't be without our sponsors, and we know that Jim Garansher has invested a lot, and his successful companies are also our sponsors, including Nationwide Overspray. And we're just so thankful for somebody like Big Jim with his love of ultimate and to grow the sport, and you know what we're able to do, even us here talking today, because of sponsorships like Nationwide Overspray.
Definitely a huge operation here in North Texas. That one's going to be knocked down.
Looks like a little late release on Cassidy's throw there, so it
looked like it got tipped out of his hand as well. It kind of just fell to the ground harmlessly.
Let's go, Roughnecks!
The Soul get a chance to take their first lead of the game.
They wanted to get it off that line.
What a D.
Fantastic D by Ben Laurie.
Incredible being able to jump in front of the disc and knock it down without any contact whatsoever.
Laurie is a longtime teammate of Jimmy Mickle on Johnny Bravo. And so when Jimmy signed on for the team, he said, well, if I'm coming, I want Ben Laurie to come with me. And I think we can see why. He makes some great plays on both sides of the disc.
Cassidy Rasmussen setting up, dumps it off. He's going to find Mickle. Mickle to Freechild. Freechild had Kittredge. Oh, and then the back of the end zone, just kind of sneaking around the defense.
Lasers it through to Matt Costello. And it's interesting, the same breaks that really helped the Soul on that last point were the same types of breaks that the Roughnecks used this time. And you have to applaud Dylan Freechild's patience. He's so squirrely, but through all of those defenders was able to find Costello in the back of the end zone. What a great play.
Personally was focused on Bo Kittredge streaking across the front part of the end zone, and that might have been where the Soul were looking too, because Matt Costello in the back of the end zone came like nobody was around him. There was no one even close to even try and make a D on that disc.
It appears that maybe a player peeled off to defend Bo as he streaked across. So at least he was able to take advantage of that. Dylan Freechild getting ready to pull the disc on defense. On defense again.
It's another good pull right back into the Soul's end zone.
And really having that aggressive man D is crucial.
Ooh, and another bid for a D from the Roughnecks. It's going to be sent over the top. Cunningham sends it across field. Back to Bennett.
So
Bennett back to Cunningham.
I think they're really trying to be mindful of the deep space, and so they're giving a little bit more room in between their players, so that they can't get away with them. Oh, that was almost a miscue that Cunningham recovered.
Good thing he was keeping up with it, and that one's going to
What
be
a
knocked
great
away.
hand block.
Steven Darrow
Darrow
with a beautiful block.
on,
Gives the Roughnecks the possession.
that was double wide teammate on double wide teammate.
Just sent across
Great
the field.
mark.
That was going to be picked up by Darrow again. Sending it deep to the end zone, wide open in the end zone. And the Roughnecks get a 2-point lead.
Let me know when you're ready to throw it to them.
Jeremy Langdon with the goal.
Gotta wait for them to throw it to her.
Okay. Well, we got it.
And that's going to put the Roughnecks up 4-2 with just over 3 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
Stand by.
And we have
Trust me, big
Paige
time
down
right
on the
here.
sideline. So Paige, who are you talking to? What's happening down on the field?
Welcome to your first Dallas Roughnecks game. What do you think of the game so far?
I think it's great. I see something I've never seen before, actually. A lot of athletes throwing the ball up, something similar to football. Looks like a lot of jump balls, a lot of guys running, cutting. And I got my crew over here, so we're having a good time, for real.
What player are you most excited to see today?
What player? Matt Castillo, he works with us, actually. We do some training with him. We call him Peyton Manning. He already got a touchdown, so we're over excited and screaming for him.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paige. The Roughnecks up 4-2. As a timeout was called, they're going to see if the Austin Soul can regroup here. What do they have to do, Emmy, to be able to try and get back into this? A 2-goal lead is not a lot, but if you're not careful, it'll grow some more.
This is where the separation happens. So if Dallas can get another break here, then that puts the Soul in a really rough position. But again, we're still in the first quarter, so I think the basics here is the Roughnecks are coming out to make very athletic defensive plays. They are not going to let the Soul just make completions. We've already seen all of the defensive bids, even that the Soul have battled through and did complete, but they will have to keep their eye on the disc the entire time, step out with that release. The hand blocks there will really prove deadly. So the pressure is on the Soul offense right now. That pole kind of bobbling on the ground gives the Roughnecks more time to catch up to their defender. Now with that double team on Purcell, Bennett doing a good job sealing off Rory. He still gets the backhand off.
Yeah, Cunningham with the disc right now. He's going to dump it back to Purcell. Purcell up the field. The Roughnecks, like you said, definitely being close, not giving any kind of space whatsoever on the defensive side. The Soul not having a whole lot of room to work. Kittredge marking right now. Back to Purcell. Purcell's going to send it deep. He's got an open receiver right there on the near side. Going to take his time. Kind of had a chance there with Ben Lewis with the disc as he's going to send it over back to Cunningham.
That was a good seal from Dan Emmons, so I think he was baiting it a little bit, but Purcell caught on and held on to that possession.
Purcell with it again. He's going to send it back to Cunningham. The far side just above the Roughnecks logo. Going to switch field back to Purcell.
So it appears when they're further back, the Roughnecks are playing more of a straight-up mark. That's why we're kind of seeing the disc move from side to side.
And there's a diving D and a knockdown for the Roughnecks. Dylan Larberg, they're going to call
a foul. Said there was a push contact on the thrower.
Oh, unfortunate. What a play by Dylan Larberg to be able to come out of nowhere. Just like a flash of lightning. It's going to be over the top, snagged out of the air. Soul still alive on this point, and there is their third of the game. The assist coming from Jared Wolf as he finds Andrew Walsh in the front of the end zone to make it a one-goal game again. We look at a replay right here, just went over the top. Really no one around. Kittredge was trying to make a D on that, just unable to get there in time.
And I think the way the defense was working, that upside down throw was his best option. And when you're playing on defense, those are the types of throws that you let off. They're lower percentage completion throws. So if you're a defender, you'd much rather them make that kind of attempt because it's less likely to work than an easy forehand or getting broken around. But at the same time, still unfortunate. However, the Soul really got made that offensive play that they needed. So now we have a 1-point game.
Yeah, you talked about it before the last pool, as this one's going to be sent into the Roughnecks red zone. Dallas looking to bust it open. Mickle going deep downfield for Rasmussen. Goes up and makes the catch in the end zone. And there is probably your longest goal of the game, thanks to Jimmy Mickle.
And Jimmy is a fantastic thrower. He puts so much power behind his throw. And while Rasmussen is really known as a great handler, I think sometimes people discount just how athletic he is too. But it was almost like this was a called play because he just streaked deep as soon as Mickle was placed in that power position. So that was done a really good job taking advantage of that opportunity there.
So the pull now having the Roughnecks up 5-3 after the quick point from Mickle and Rasmussen. 1 minute and 40 seconds exactly remaining in the first quarter.
Matt Bennett with the pull. So Matt Bennett on the Roughnecks, and then 0 on the Soul is Mitchell Bennett, his younger brother. So not only are they rivals in the pro leagues, they're also college rivals. Mitchell Bennett at the University of Texas and Matt Bennett as a Texas A&M graduate.
That's probably an interesting Thanksgiving table right there.
Right.
With those two.
Ryan
Purcell's going to send this one deep, just no one around.
And it seemed to be a little bit of a missed time. It was almost that Dan Emmons read that disc, knew it was coming, but Chase Cunningham I don't think was anticipating that deep shot right away.
Roughnecks with a chance to make it a 3-goal lead.
If you're being too over, go a little bit above that, then you'll be good.
Roughnecks doing a good job spreading the field, giving that deep option just so that we can open up some space in the middle here.
That one's going to be sent deep, looking for Larberg and easily into his arms.
Larberg connection. So you talk about more brothers with some college rivalries. So these guys at least are on the same team. Dylan Larberg at the University of Texas, Chris Larberg, an Oklahoma University graduate, but they have that brotherly chemistry, so they were still able to make that play.
You saw the chest bump afterwards. They've made that connection time and time and time again. This one puts the Roughnecks up by 3 with just under a minute remaining in the first quarter. The Soul, like you said, this is the separation point. They need to capitalize on this possession if they're going to have any kind of momentum going into the second quarter. I
think it looks like they do have a lot of, they have a lot of athletes on their team anyway, but they do have several, we have Ethan Pollock, who made the score earlier, and Michael Mathis, who is a great vertical, so they'll probably be looking for some of their athletic plays. Interestingly, not sending a deep shot. I figured they might set up with a play just to kind of get some momentum going, but it looks like they're cycling, sitting into power position.
And there's Pollock right there.
That reaching grab.
Going up in the middle, and the D from Jimmy Mickle as he goes up and gets it. In the end zone, denies the Soul a point. And they start back on offense. You see the Roughnecks trying to slow it down. At first I thought they were going to send it deep. I was about to get a little bit more excited there. But instead they slow it down.
I think it's important for them to play their tempo of game. They can play fast if they want, but they want to be able to dictate that. That great blade out of the double team.
There's
Darrow sending
deep.
It.
That one's going to be snagged in the end zone. And there's the captain, Matt Costello, otherwise known as the Yeti, with the reception puts the Roughnecks up by 4, and you can see the disappointment on the Souls' faces with 8 seconds remaining in the first. Beautiful catch as he goes up over the top of the Soul defender. Costello showing it how it's done.
And Michael Mathis trying to get position, but I think Costello was able to block him out and really just timed that jump perfectly to come down. Mathis is a tough defender, but they've played together before as well, and he was just really able to hang on to it.
So the Roughnecks with the pull. Right now it'll probably end up ending the first as Jimmy Mickle's going to send it deep. The Soul probably going to have one last chance, one ditch effort. As soon as he catches it, the clock will start. 8 seconds now. Have an open field, a lot of defenders back for the Roughnecks. This one's going to be sent into the end zone.
The jump ball,
3
otherwise known as a
on
hospital
2,
pass.
and that one's going to be grabbed, and the Roughnecks in the first quarter up 7-3. All around good play from the new franchise here in Dallas. Kind of what you expected, isn't it, Emmy?
It is, and we've really seen a lot from 3 of the big 6. So Jimmy, Cassidy, and Bo really making those great plays. But we all know you can't make a team just out of 6 people. It takes a full roster, and so thankfully we've seen others from, Chris Larberg, Stephen Darrow having that great hand block, and I think Paige has somebody down on the field. Paige, talk to us.
I'm here with Eric, the official namesake of the AUDL charity. Eric, what does that organization mean to you?
You know, it's great. We've had a lot of awareness spread all across the country the last year. Last year was our first year being an official partner. This year's our second year. We're expanding a lot. It's been great. We're doing clinics all over the country every week and reaching a lot of kids, trying to spread the word to be active and be aware.
All right, thank you so much and good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paige. The Dallas Roughnecks up by 4 as we are just about to begin the second quarter. Emmy, what do the Soul have to do to get back in this? What are they doing wrong, and what are they needing to do to make this a game?
I think they need to maintain possession, and if you maintain possession, then you score. They're doing that with a lot of handler movement, but some of the time they're really trying to get those quick points and quick receptions. But we saw that turnover where Jimmy Mickle had that incredible D. He was really set up. Great plays usually happen from a miscue. I think Pollock had a great thought there, but his execution, the disc was just floating so high that gives the Roughnecks that opportunity. They have to take that away. Even if you might not make that big hero play, you hang on to it for a couple more seconds so you can get a dump reset and really execute your end zone offense. But maintaining that possession, hanging on to the disc, knowing that they will probably have some guy flying across their face trying to prevent that from happening. I mean, these defenders are very intense. They are take no prisoners, and they've been waiting months and months to be able to make these plays.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast about how exciting the Roughnecks offense is going to be. Their defense has made some highlights as well so far with the diving bids and all the laying out to try and knock down the disc. It's been successful so far. 3 points in the first quarter that's pretty good. I don't know how much better you could do. I mean, I'm sure you could shut them out, but that's a lot of work and a very well done job so far in their first quarter in franchise history.
I think limiting them to 3 points is certainly a valiant effort, and not only are they getting the D's, but they're also making those conversions when they're on playing that defensive offense.
You see Kittredge going over the top to Mickle. Mickle to Costello. Costello in the end zone. That one's going to be pulled back out. You got to make a play in the corner, in the back, and Dylan Freechild fakes the spike of the disc and instead throws it up in the air. His first goal of the game. You've been waiting for that spike, his signature spike into the ground. He did it a lot while he played at Oregon. That time he had to adjust, turn back toward the disc, make the play, and then instead of doing the signature move, he decided to change it up a little bit in his first professional goal.
let's just call it a more evolved spike. So that's what a lot of players are turning to, because sometimes it's frowned upon to spike down on the disc. They say, okay, we'll spike it up. So he's spiking the sky. But he really made a great adjustment there. It looked like Lori was going to go with that inside out throw, but then I think just the speed that Dylan was cutting threw it behind him. So that was a fantastic behind the body one-handed catch that he was able to make, and then his sky spike. You heard it here, folks.
Ted Barnett with the pull, and the Soul down by 5, looking at a bigger deficit if they can't take advantage of this possession. Purcell with it, sending it back, a low throw. Corral in the middle, just on top of the logo. Sending it back.
Dalton Smith very, very close right there.
A huge D effort right there, just wasn't able to get in front of it.
Looks like they have a backhand force, really forcing that sideline. So
Purcell
the
down
lefty.
to Bennett. And then, like you said, the lefty right on the edge of this near sideline, able to get around the defender, use the sideline to his advantage. And Mitchell Bennett all the way down the field with the easy reception in the back of the end zone. That's exactly what the Soul need, though. That's what the doctor ordered, I guess, is the saying for that.
It is. It is what the doctor ordered. And, you know, the benefit of forcing that sideline, you have so much less space to be able to work, unless you're a lefty and you can really open that up and you have somebody just streaking to the end zone. It didn't look like the defender defense was really able to get to the far side in time to be able to capture.
The sun going down just on the horizon. Roughnecks up by 4 now after the Bennett score in the back of the end zone. Purcell with the assist, and the Soul will pull. It's going to be Hillis sending it deep. Roughnecks with a lot of the same offense out on the field. Going to be sent back to Rasmussen. Freechild with the snag over the diving Soul defender. That was Lucky Masola. It's going to be Jimmy Mickle on the far side, sending it to Kittredge in the end zone, and there's another score for Bo Kittredge, the 2-time MVP, showing why.
When they say, I woke up this way, Bo woke up this way. Ready to get those running to the back of the end zone. He didn't have that much separation, but you can see right his last 3 steps is what he gains. Usually he can get that separation up at the front, but he also just has this incredible closing speed, and he's just very long. And in case he needed to leave his feet and have that extension.
One of the longest, one of the tallest players on the field. Maybe the only one that's a little bit longer than him would be Ethan Pollock. It's a close race in that regard, though. Nonetheless, the Roughnecks up by 5 now with 10:50 remaining in the first half. We're just about to get ready for the pull. Looks like Dylan Freechild's going to be the one to send it deep.
Floating pull.
Yeah, that's just going to sit down right on that far sideline.
So the wind with the sun, as the sun has set, it seems like the wind has just pretty much died down.
And Pollock and Cunningham. Cunningham comes up with that, goes over 2 Roughneck defenders, comes up on his knees, and makes the play in the back of the end zone. Had Ben Lewis streaking open after Cunningham went up over the top of both Roughneck defenders and had the easy throw for the score.
Quite the sky between Chris Larberg and Dan Emmons, and Chase Cunningham and Dan Emmons have been longtime double-wide teammates, and after Chase made that great play on Dan, Dan gives him a big hug, threw his hat playfully, and just gave him a big high five. I mean, that's a heck of a play.
Beautiful play as we're going to take it down on the field to Paige. What you got for us, Paige?
I'm here with some Roughnecks fans who have just told me that I would look good with a mustache.
True.
What is with your mustaches?
Oh, it's part of the bacon camp. We're big bacon fans.
Who's bacon?
Well, there's only one bacon. It's Reed Bacon. he's the bacon, yes.
So you're his personal cheering squad.
There's the
I wouldn't say that
thanks
I am.
Paige
There's
again,
many
great
people
work
here
down
that,
on
sorry,
the field.
there's
The
many
Roughnecks
people here
trying
that
to answer back. Their lead now back down to 4.
I like those mustaches. I kind of
Those
want
were
to get one
nice.
of those. Yeah.
During the break, you could even hear fans chanting Jimmy Mickle. A lot of fun out here in the Colony.
We are in overflow seating, so we had 400 bleachers brought in and installed here at the Colony 5-Star Sports Complex, but told the fans to bring chairs and blankets just in case, and we have well exceeded that 400 seat capacity, which you just couldn't ask for a better night to be out here. Ben Laurie catching the strike cut and the
Yeah, back at the game, Bo Kittredge and the Roughnecks working the disc down the field quite methodically on this point. Back to Bo. Bo and Rasmussen in the backfield, handing it off to Mickle. Mickle fakes it to Bo instead, finds Laurie in the end zone, and that's going to be another goal.
That looks like that was another red herring where Bo with the strike cut really streaking towards the end zone, and that allowed Ben Laurie to really move forward with the disc.
Another great play from the Roughnecks, doubles their lead as it is going to be 10-5 now.
And we'd like to thank some more of our sponsors. Golden Ticket, they're the passport to sports for over 27 years. You can visit them at goldenticket.com. So thankful that we have them available. Drunken Donkey Bar and Grill, it's your neighborhood craft beer headquarters. They're just right around the corner. So I've been there a couple times. Got a pretty good selection. I highly recommend it for anybody that's in the area. Their food's not bad either. They have these sweet potato tater tots, this marshmallow dip. Oh, it's so good.
That sounds
so
really good right now. I don't know if I want you to keep talking about that. The pool's going to go out of bounds on the near sideline, and the Soul will get a chance to answer their own. We'll see what they can do. Had some incredible play from Chase Cunningham on the last point. He's back out there as he's going to center the disc.
Chase Cunningham is an athletic threat in his own right, but the Soul are using him as a handler in the back to the big. Oh,
There's
nice
a lot of
grab by
contact, and
Mitchell
he was
Bennett.
still able to come out of it. Mitchell Bennett with the play. That was
Almost-
going to be sent across, and there's a score. A lot of defenders all on the Soul's bodies, but unable to come down with any of it are the Roughnecks, and instead, Joel Clutton will be in the back of the end zone as he was able to grab that disc and come down with it.
Just working it up that force side. But it almost looked like Ted Barnett thought that the disc was going to go over, or Mitchell Bennett just timed that really well. I mean, Ted was all up in his business, but he said, no, this disc is mine.
It's interesting with the 4-point deficit that the Soul are facing. Actually, we're going to go down for Paige on the sideline real quick. What you got, Paige?
How did you hear about the Dallas Roughnecks today?
Well, a friend of mine saw it on the Colony website. She just happened upon it and called and said, do you want to go check this out? And we said, sure.
What are your thoughts so far?
It's fun, yeah.
That pool is
I
gonna be
played disc
sent
golf
deep.
and thought this might be interesting to see, so we came out
Right
to
on
check
the
it out.
goal
It was
line.
fun.
Well, thank you so much for coming out
Roughnecks
today.
will set up
Sure.
their offense. Sending it to Freechild on the near side.
Ultimate is really a game of runs. So Dallas has had their runs, the Soul kind of intermittent runs, but a lot of players will say, okay, let's play a game to 3. Let's win this game to 3 and then worry about the next set.
It's interesting. You don't really see a lot of that except maybe in basketball. Basketball might be the only other big sport of runs. But
Right, exactly. And so just like basketball, you could be up 15 points, 8 points, and say, okay, but you cannot stay comfortable with that. Jimmy Mickle
that's going to be a turnover.
just shy of that completion.
I thought at first he was able to grab the diving effort off of grab the disc before it touched the ground, but instead it was a turnover. That's one of the first turnovers in the last couple points. Both of these teams really doing a good job offensively of really scoring at will. Cunningham sending it way deep.
And I think there was a switch mismatch where Freechild was on Pollock. Thankfully, Bo Kittredge recognized and came to help as Dylan pulled off of that. There's a significant height advantage.
Yeah, it's hard to miss Pollock running down the field. The only person he probably fits in with is Bo Kittredge. Those are the two big men on the field. But that disc did fly just a little bit too far out of the reach of Pollock. Even his outstretched arms couldn't get up to it. Mickle has it now, sending it forward. Roughnecks really trying to find a way. Malachek with the stall. He's going to dump it back to Rasmussen. Rasmussen in the end zone to Jimmy that's Dylan Freechild actually on that far side.
Could hardly recognize because he didn't do anything. He just dropped it after it was called a goal.
That's the complete opposite of what I was expecting to happen from Dylan Freechild, but nonetheless, it's a point instead for the Roughnecks. 11-6 now the score, just over 7.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
I think the help D was just crucial there. Pollock was poached, then Dylan Freechild picks him up. Bo recognizes as that deep throw was going up, and that help D just really was allowed, I think, enough confusion, because then when the disc was turned over, now Freechild is without a defender and able to work more, and the Soul really had to readjust to that.
Yeah, there was definitely a great play by Freechild to be open in the front corner of the end zone as this pull is going to be sent deep, and the Soul will set up. Looked like the Roughnecks almost had a D as Matt Jackson went streaking down the field. This one's going to be just out of reach for the streaking Mathis. And the Roughnecks will get it back.
And it looks like the Soul there, another trying to get it downfield quickly. So in the hopes that they can get another turnover close to their own end zone. But you want Matt Bennett in the corner here. He knows how to get that off of the line, working with his teammate Dalton Smith from their A&M days. Two Aggies at it to Jake Anderson.
Look for a long throw right here. Instead, he's going to dump it off in a diving effort that almost was that turnover that the Soul were looking for. Instead, it's going to be sent deep down the field. It's going to be a jump for the disc, and he comes up with it. Dylan Larberg with it. Streaking across the field are the Roughnecks. That was going to be saved from hitting the ground, and there's the score. An overall great point as Matt Jackson will end up with his first goal of the game.
And the Roughnecks initially had a little bit of trouble getting it out of the corner of the end zone on the other side of the field, but when Matt Bennett was able to grab that diving dish to him, he said, okay, we got to get it out of here. Thankfully, Dylan Larberg was already streaking, and his brother was right by him to be able to get that quick continue. So not only do we want to, they're doing a great job anticipating, so not only do we get it out of that corner, but then toss it to that next person to get that play continuing.
It was a beautiful play. Maybe whether it was intentional or not is the question. Just like you said, sending it deep, trying to get it out of their own red zone, and it ended up with the play from Dylan Larberg really going and elevating up over the defense to make the play.
And I should mention, too, we are so glad for all of our fans who are watching on the stream. We want to have a little contest. If you're watching the stream, please post a photo and use the hashtag Roughnecks Live. Hashtag Roughnecks Live. We'll post some of our great fan pics, and there might even be some prizes out there. So hashtag Roughnecks Live for our great fans that are tuning in to our broadcast. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, once again, we are live in the Colony, Texas. The Austin Soul versus the Dallas Roughnecks. The first game in both of these franchises' history as they join the AUDL. The Roughnecks now up 12-6 with just under 6 minutes remaining in the second quarter. The Soul with the disc right now as they're going to send it deep. Pollock has it on the far side. They're going to send it to the disc a little bit. Trying to get anybody in the back of the end zone, and there's Pollock in the back as he headbutts the disc. And another point for the Austin Soul.
Really quick disc movement. You could see that was some really great handler movement. There was a call on the play, so it looks like the disc is coming back.
Interesting.
Appears there was a foul on, I'm not sure, foul on the defense? But Mathis back with the disc.
I guess there's no declining the penalty like there is in football.
Well, and now that takes back the Soul score as well. So that, works
There's
to the
a
advantage.
nice D right there.
Dara with another D.
He's all over the handlers today. Had that nice hand block earlier, and he has another one right here.
He plays great position D. He knows where he needs to be, even if he might not be making those diving catches. A half inch here or there can make such a difference, or identifying the release point of your defender can really be crucial in forcing those types of turnovers.
Roughnecks with a little bit of miscommunication there as Mickle started streaking deep, and instead the throw was short, as the Soul and Pollock are going to get the disc back. A chance to gain more ground and shrink this deficit. Hillis down to Pollock, and there's a D, and that one's going to be caught.
What?
An incredible play as that disc just flew all around, didn't touch everything but the ground, it seemed like. And Pollock ended up with the disc in the front part of the end zone for the goal.
So I think there was a D by Langdon, then a bobble by Pollock, another dive on the ground. It appeared he had dropped it, but Hank hung on to it for that catch. That's
Saved
so
by
fun
the
to watch.
forearm.
Saved by the forearm is right. Very long forearms, indeed.
What a play by Pollock. That would have been a huge turnover. And instead, the Soul with the score.
Keeping this game interesting. Eric Hillis really trying to take advantage of that height mismatch, and Pollock, having that great positioning.
And that pull is going to be sent deep and corralled by the Roughnecks as they start their offensive chance. Rasmussen with the disc just underneath the Roughnecks logo. Sending it forward to Kittredge. Kittredge to Freechild. Freechild going to reset to Kittredge. Back across to Rasmussen. Rasmussen in the end zone. And there's another Roughnecks goal.
What a great inside-out flick by Rasmussen. An excellent cut from Dalton Smith there. In that red zone area, the cutters really want to use that break side, whereas the handlers oftentimes are kind of trying to move it towards the field. They're striking the foreside, but that break side, your defender's out of position, and you have somebody as deadly as Cassidy firing, those IO flicks like that. Very, very hard to defend.
An incredible streak right there, like you said, from Dalton Smith, just coming right across that goal line. Really had no chance. The Soul defense had no chance to get in front of him. It is now a 13-7 lead with 4 minutes remaining in the first half. The Roughnecks trying to pump up the crowd a little bit on their preparation for this next pull. This is going to be sent deep into the center of the field. The Soul trying to get a little bit of a head start now. Cunningham has it. Fakes deep. Instead puts it over the top to Bennett.
Very, very hard mark taking away, but
and there's the deep throw right there in the back of the end zone. Who's going to come up with it? And it's caught in the end zone by Andrew Walsh.
Jake Anderson seemed to mistime the throw a little bit. He really got high up, but a little too early. So Walsh was really able to take advantage of that and had great positioning. But even that throw going up, Chase Cunningham had no defender. It seemed like there was some help D that was a little slow to react there. So Austin Soul really taking advantage of the opportunity that they received.
And you've seen that it's kind of a trend now with Chase Cunningham really throwing that deep disc, trying to get it in the end zone as far away from their own red zone as possible. He's made a couple great throws. That one may have been the best of them so far.
Well, and he had an excellent pump fake earlier in the point where a lot of the players shifted, and I think they thought that big huck was going up earlier, so maybe, they said, okay, maybe this will be another pump fake, but you have to take advantage of that opportunity there.
And The Roughnecks reset, trying to answer in the middle of the field. We're going to send it to Freechild.
Great reaching grab.
Rasmussen going deep. Wants to receive a little bit as Kittredge. Deep mark, and that one's going to be snagged by Rasmussen, staying in bounds, and a sliding effort from Freechild. Just throwing it over to Mickle in the end zone, and there's another Roughneck score. Beautiful play from Dylan Freechild on that point, being able to slide around with the disc, pop back up, and make the play over the top of the Soul defender.
Who doesn't love a scuba score? I love those corner scuba scores. Those are just so fun to watch. And Jimmy did a great job anticipating. He made a sharp jab cut towards the center of the end zone, and then he could have cleared out if that throw wasn't there, but Dylan really took advantage of it and threw up that scuba to bring the Roughnecks ahead of the Soul 14-8.
Beautiful play from those two. Freechild is not the usual scuba. Usually it's Matt Bennett who's the one that's doing that, but instead he decided to take a page out of Matt's book and score with a scuba right there to make it 14-8 in favor of the Dallas Roughnecks.
Oh, Dylan's squirrely too. Dylan loves, he loves all scubers, but mostly just keeping his defenders on their toes. You never know what to expect.
Almost an unforced turnover as Cunningham had to lay out to grab that disc off of the pool.
Yeah, just not a lot of spin. It just seemed to, pushing foul called on Dalton Smith, so Austin Soul get a 10-yardage advantage.
I wonder if that's a bit of a coaching strategy to say don't give Cunningham any room, because he's made a couple great throws so far, and there might be another one, and a D instead. At the front of the end zone, the Roughnecks deny the Soul.
Ted Barnett's really ready for that, and I would have been shocked if he didn't bid for that.
This one's going to be a jump
Very
disc in the
lofty.
middle. A lot of contact. Instead, he comes up with it, has an open receiver in the middle of the field, and there's the score. Brilliant play from Jeremy Langdon as he ends up finding Kai Marshall for the Roughneck score, and just like that, it's 15-8.
Kai Marshall does a great job, too, with that continuation. So higher level play, you see the throw go up, and then the next player that's the furthest back says, okay, where do I need to go to keep this going? I need this play to have legs. So great job for Kai to continue. And great play for Langdon with that end zone throw. A lot of times, players will catch these great grabs, these great skies, and then they get so excited that their form's not great throwing it in, and you have a lot of very frustrating turnovers. I'm sure a lot of our viewers have been victim to that before on their teams, but you know, these guys are pros. They're paid to do that, as they say.
It was a beautiful play from Langdon, being able to box out almost. It looked like a basketball player going for a rebound. Instead, he jumped up over the defender and grabbed the disc, even with the contact. Now the Soul have another chance to try and get back in it. Down by 7. It's the biggest lead of the game for the Roughnecks. That one's going to be a diving effort, just coming up a little bit short. The Soul going deep. That one's going to be picked off.
Dirty Dan.
Dan Emmons with the play to deny the Soul again.
He eats those for lunch. Now asking for the disc from Matt Bennett. Bennett stays conservative, probably good. Dan still calling for the disc. Handler's working it through the middle there.
There's going to be a dish off toward the near side. Looking for the end zone. He's going to reach back, make the play. Still in play, but there's the score. Chris Larberg ends up with it, but not until Dylan Larberg went up and got it again.
Another Larberg connection.
Don't you love it? And there's going to be, looks like a timeout from the Soul, as they're now down 16-8 with 1:22 remaining in the second quarter.
We've got some fans from Apes of Wrath. They're the OU club team that are down right outside of our broadcast booth. They went nuts at that score, obviously. Their alum, Chris Larberg, with that grab. Dylan Larberg had a great catch to set up his assist to his brother, because that he had to reach pretty far behind him as well, but he really quick reflexes, able to do that. Looking through our Roughnecks Live Twitter, thank you guys. These are excellent pictures here from all over the place. There's somebody, Alberto Rossi, he says, all the way from UK in darkness, watching my favorite new team. Shout out. Thank you for staying up with us. We have another viewer from Canada, Josh McDonald. It's the picture. Your dog doesn't seem too excited, but I'm glad you tweeted us. Hopefully you're more excited than your dog looks. And we have so many others. Thanks, Nathan Smith, for taking a picture of the game. We have
It's great to see the following that the Roughnecks have gained just in their first game as a franchise. A huge crowd on hand, enjoying the 16-8 lead at the hands of the Roughnecks. Beautiful to see that. Love the sport of ultimate disc and glad that it's growing.
And I think we're going to see more big throws put up by Austin, really trying to get those quick points. We saw that in the last point as well, trying to get it right away. You know, the benefit to that is you can score some points quickly if you make the connections. If you don't, you're going to give it to a very possession-conscious Dallas Roughnecks who may not give the disc back to you after you turn it over.
Austin with it now. Dumping off the disc, that one's going to be corralled. Almost went over the top of Orloff, and Orloff's going to send it deep into the end zone, and it's going to be come up. And Jared Wolf elevates over two Roughnecks and his own teammate to grab that one in the end zone.
So those are the kind of quick points that I was just talking about that the Soul really need. And those are momentum builders too. You see your teammate skying two defenders to get that grab, who sometimes may even have a size advantage on you. That fires up the team, pumps them up, and then maybe you can continue that and start your own run to the next time. That's the exact type of point that the Soul need right now. So it'll be really interesting to see how the Roughnecks answer. We have a minute left before half, and Paige has someone else to talk to us. Talk to us, Paige.
Yes, she's ready.
Well, we decided that this would be a great way for us to spend the evening and see some awesome action with the Roughnecks.
How are y'all liking it so far?
Loving it. Exciting. It is phenomenal. It's exciting. These guys are awesome. This team is phenomenal.
You're coming back, right?
Heck yeah, we will be back for every game this season.
All right, go Roughnecks!
Kittredge to Mickle in the back of the end zone. Beautiful play from Kittredge and Mickle. That's the connection that a lot of these fans wanted to see.
So
beautiful play.
When we said that, how will the Roughnecks answer? Well, they will answer with their own. Spread out field, leading pass. Kittredge usually not the one with the longer throws to Mickle. Usually it's reversed. Mickle really throwing those to Kittredge. But that was an excellent connection there.
It was a beautiful throw. Kittredge showing why he's the two-time reigning MVP and the two-time reigning world champion.
And that hardly took any time off of the clock either.
Not at all. Regains the 8-point lead for the Roughnecks as they get ready to pull this back to the Soul.
Oh, that Blady pull. Little bit harder to catch. Yep, lets it bounce on the ground. Can't afford a turnover that close to the end zone.
There's a D on the other end.
Matt Jackson with the D.
Beautiful.
Great anticipation. Another benefit of those big high pulls is it gives the defense more time to get down there. Now the Roughnecks have the disc on their own goal line with 31 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, 31 seconds. The clock is going to stop at 28 as they're going to recenter the disc here. Huge opportunity for the Roughnecks to try and make this a 9-point advantage going into the halftime break. All around great play from the Roughnecks, being able to play defensively and offensively, and that one's going to be sent off to the side. And there it is again, the 18th goal of the game. This one goes to Dalton Smith in the front of the end zone for the Roughnecks.
The A&M Buds connection. You knew as soon as he cut that way. Matt Bennett, I won't say there's no stopping. I won't say that, but it's hard to stop. It's hard to stop his strategic throws that he moves up. He's just creative. Matt Bennett has been described by numerous people as the most creative thrower in Ultimate. And I just can't wait throughout the season when we have a really windy game where he might have, more of those opportunities to showcase. But it's just awesome. Seeing more hashtag tweets coming through. Also want to shout out the fans in Shreveport, Louisiana. I used to play and go to tournaments with some guys and ladies out there. We're so glad you guys are watching. Hope you guys can make the drive in to catch one of our home games.
That's definitely right, Emmy, and Mickle's going to send that one deep, and the Soul are going to try and really gather themselves before this halftime break, maybe grab another goal and shrink the deficit as much as they can, sending it toward the middle of the field, back to Wolf. Wolf made some incredible highlight reel plays today, as he's going to send it over the top to Purcell, and it's going to be mishandled. 4 seconds left on the clock. They're going to send it deep for the streaking Roughnecks, and no play is going to be made, and that's going to be the end of the first half. It looks like there's going to be a call on the field, actually. Way back where Purcell had the disc originally, or almost had the disc, he ended up dropping it. Might be a couple more seconds on the clock.
Trying to read lips, but Ted Barnett gets the disc back.
I'm going to call a foul on Wolf, it looks like.
Yep, it does look like it.
We're going to keep our eyes and ears open for what's about to happen. Looks like the Roughnecks might get one last shot at this with 2 seconds remaining on the clock.
And then it appears that timeout has been called additionally to the foul on the field. Brandon Malachek subs in for Ted Barnett. Brandon Malachek, one of the premier handlers. I mean, this is a guy, played double wide last year, played Boston Ironside for a lot of years. Very, very experienced player. He actually has won a professional ultimate championship in another league as well. Lots of experience, gets sometimes overlooked on the team, but really shouldn't. He's a phenomenal handler, and it's an excellent choice to face the double team, where it looks like Austin Soul is trying to take advantage. Well, it did look like with Pollock and Cunningham on that double team, so try and create a wall as tall as possible. We call this in non-AUDL the Cuposaurus.
And there's the throw, and nothing's going to come of it. There's actually going to be a play at the end of this that maybe try and grab another point, and Cunningham grabs it. He thinks he has a goal, and they're going to the refs are going to call it a goal.
No, wait.
They
initially called it, but then said never mind.
It was a smart play by Cunningham to be able to go deep and at least try at that disc instead to maybe try and grab the buzzer beater. But instead, it's going to be a 9-point deficit for the Soul as the Roughnecks have the incredible half. 18-9 is now the score. Dallas really having their way with the visiting Soul. What do you see, Emmy, from this first half that's encouraging for the Roughnecks, and what do the Soul need to do in order to grab this lead and maybe shrink it a little bit?
Well, your offense needs to convert every single time they're on the field, and the Roughnecks have converted. And when the offense comes on the field, they score a point. The defense really needs to get that turnover, so you see a lot of those athletic, aggressive plays on defense, and then the defensive offense is doing a great job of maintaining possession and converting. It looks like Paige has Jimmy Mickle down on the field. Paige, tell us, what does Jimmy think about the first half?
Jimmy, your team's absolutely dominating this first half. How does that make you feel?
Really good. It's an exciting first half. Still got another half left, so we're not going to get content, but good start.
This is y'all's first game playing as the Dallas Roughnecks. What do y'all hope to accomplish going into the second half?
I think if we keep playing composed like we did in the first half, first point was obviously had to get some jitters out, but hopefully keep the energy up and play with some same kind of desire that we did in the first. So I think just playing another half as good as that, and we'll go home happy. So.
And what do you think about this crowd for a first game?
It's really exciting. More than I expected. It's cool to see people here that have never been to an Ultimate game before. Get to get a chance to experience it, and hopefully we'll put it on a show. So.
All right, thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paige and Jimmy.
A beautiful play so far from the Roughnecks, 18-9. As we are now at the half, the first half in franchise history, going exactly as planned. If you're a Roughnecks fan, not so much if you're the Soul. It's what you expected. It's what the Ultimate Disc world expected to see the Roughnecks play. What else are we expecting to see in the second half, Emmy?
Well, I think, especially for the Soul, they have an opportunity to really see how they work in adversity, see how they can work through that balance between trying to have those big, quick scores with maintaining possession, knowing that the Roughnecks' defensive offense probably isn't going to turn it over again. Their home opener is next Saturday, so I know, and which is actually a rematch with the Roughnecks.
Exactly.
So the Roughnecks are headed to Austin next Saturday. So now this is a learning opportunity for the Soul to see, okay, well, we faced them once before. We're down 18-9 at the half, but what can we take away? What are some habits that we can pick up about the Roughnecks? While the Roughnecks, yes, they're up 18-9, but they have very high standards for the season. So I think the second half is additionally, all right, well, we cannot rest on our laurels. It is not unheard of for leads to disappear or shrink. I mean, this could still very much be a ball game, and I think the Roughnecks need to maintain that mental toughness. I mean, they need to maintain that mental toughness in the second half.
And we thank you again for joining us here in the first half of action. We're actually going to take a break and show you a little bit of a video that we have for our halftime entertainment. We'll be back after the break with more here on Roughnecks.com.
All right, so tomorrow, Jimmy's big first workout. We had a couple warm-up workouts in, a couple upper body things, a couple, light workouts, what I like to call them, kind of get his body moving. Tomorrow, we have a 300 circuit, and it's not going to be pretty for him.
So as you might know, Bo has this idea in his head of, I think, what he's calling a Mickle makeover, body by Bo. And part of me is excited. I think it's good for me. I've done, workouts in the past and tried to stay in shape, but I've never really had the time or effort or mental fortitude to do it daily and really get on a strong regimen to get my body in the best shape that I can be. So I'm excited for that. What I'm nervous about, I don't know, death. I don't really want to die.
This is kind of like getting his blood back in his system before we shock it with some really difficult stuff. This is it. Last one. This is what we call the crying one. This is where you either cry or throw up or give up. All right, so we got 20 throws. If you drop it, you have to do 10 push-ups or throw it away. The difference between a great Ultimate team and an okay Ultimate team is the ability to play through when pressure is on, you're tired, you're fatigued, and you don't make mental errors. This right here is all mental. We could do these throws no problem every single day, but we've done an entire workout, and now we're going to try to do them. Now's when the difference is made. Now is the difference between us winning and us losing.
And this is Roughnecks Ultimate Insider. And today we are at the first combine practice of the Dallas Roughnecks. Over 150 Ultimate Frisbee players have shown up that have a dream to play on the first Dallas Ultimate Pro team.
It's great having a pro sports team come here to help build exposure to Ultimate in the area and get a lot of the best talent that we have in Dallas competing at a high level, trying to make a name for themselves nationally.
Today, they will be put through 5 different exercises and simulations where the coaches and owners will have a chance to see who will make the final roster.
I think I saw a lot, and I know our coaches did. What we did is we just kind of had a little bit of a debrief. And again, this is a job interview, and that's what happens in job interviews. We talked about you guys, good or bad, but it's not the end. So what this means is we're going to now break in and actually play real Ultimate. It's great if you can jump high, but can you catch? It's great if you can do a drill, but can you, throw and actually move with other people on the field?
The day was filled with some exciting moments, and some undiscovered talent was definitely seen.
I would say at the Combine, the most surprising person I saw show up was Dylan Freechild. There was also a bunch of people I'd never seen who were actually really athletic that I'm really excited to see as a second tryout.
It's kind of intimidating to be the only girl out here, but I mean, I'm here to play my best, and
I came out here to give my all. This is the injury that shows it.
One of the best things about the Combine was it was very different than any other tryout process I'd ever been a part of. There was a lot more energy than other tryouts. There were volunteers helping out, there were fans watching, there were families of people supporting the people at the tryout. So I think it had a very different professional feel to it that gave it a lot more energy, and I think let people really leave it all out on the table. It felt like an event, so that was a really cool part of it.
The action was fast and the pressure was felt as the field will now be cut from 150 to only 50 players that will make this second Combine. From 150 Ultimate players to 50, the field has definitely been narrowed down.
Oh, we have a lot of people on the bubble, I gotta be honest with you. A lot of kids that are, between the ages of 18 and 23 that are super excited to make the team, and not all of them are gonna be able to make it. But the main thing is we're gonna have a super good practice team, and every one of them will be probably Roughnecks in 2017. So.
But today, the weather will also be a factor at nearly 35 degrees and a wind chill that cuts through your body.
It's the wind right now. It's a little chilly. It gets kind of cold here in Dallas. I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, it's making for some interesting Ultimate, I would say.
So far, so good. It's extremely cold. It's really windy. We're seeing a lot of separating the boys from the men. Actually, this is taking care of itself in a way that we never, you can't get on a normal day. So we're seeing a lot of good talent. We're seeing the best players in the world playing against the best players in Dallas, which they're going to all be playing together. So that's going to be exciting.
It will make all the exercises and scrimmages even more of a challenge, but we will definitely reveal who has what it takes under pressure and can rise above outside circumstances to make the play and ultimately land them a spot on the final roster.
This team is stacked. You got a couple of my buddies on this team, so it is definitely one that will be competing for the championship, I'm pretty sure.
Good job, White. I think y'all went undefeated. B team went undefeated. Nice day. Really tough to play. Conditions are tough. No one's been cold in a while, or you haven't played with a lot of these guys. Definitely good work. Thanks for the positive attitude and staying with it. We are going to end now, so hopefully that doesn't anger anyone who wanted to go till 5. But really got a lot of good information. Despite some people said, hey, well, I'm a great athlete, but I didn't get to show my stuff because of the wind. We got to see a lot. You get to see a lot because there were so many turnovers, there were so many held points, there were so many times where good decisions were made and bad decisions were made. So we actually got to see quite a bit, and I think the leadership team and the ownership team have our work cut out for us, but we're going to go do that. We'll probably make decisions over the next couple of days. The rolled out plan is to be determined though, so don't take silence as a good or bad thing. So keep your emails and answer your phones or whatever. We'll be calling the next couple weeks.
I'm Taylor Cox, and this is Roughnecks Ultimate Insider. Don't forget, follow us on Facebook and buy your season tickets today at DallasRoughnecks.com as the home opener kicks off April 2nd.
Welcome back to the Colony, Texas, where the Dallas Roughnecks are up 18-9 at halftime over the Austin Soul. Thanks again for joining us here on DallasRoughnecks.com. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald. And down on the field right now, we have our sideline reporter, Paige Schnorbach. Paige, what you got for us down there?
I'm here with Julie Malachek, wife of Roughnecks player Brandon Malachek. What do you think of the game so far?
It's really been a great game with a great turnout. I'm impressed seeing the two teams. They have so many players who've played together in the past, and so seeing them compete against each other is really fun to see what the matchups look like and how they interact.
And who do we have here?
This is our dog Fox, and he loves playing frisbee too. Actually, he was pretty jealous of the sideline of the halftime show dog.
Is this how Brandon gets his practice in?
Yeah, for sure. This dog can run forever, and so Brandon, of course, is a big thrower, so he can throw, and Fox will fetch almost anything.
Well, we're glad to have you, and we're glad to have Brandon. Back to you, Kyle and Emmy.
Thanks, Paige. And the Roughnecks up by 9 at the half, about as good as it can go offensively and defensively. Who stood out for you, Emmy? Who was some of the Roughnecks players that really played at the top of their game in the first game of the season?
I think Cassidy Rasmussen did a great job from a handler and a cutter position. You saw him circulating the disc really well, and then also going deep. So, and that really provides an advantage to him because he always keeps his defender guessing. So they can't just rest on their laurels and say that they're going to guard him close by. They also have to go deep. Also want to take this opportunity to thank some of our sponsors. Drunken Cow Jerky. They're located here in Dallas, and they provide high-quality, tasty meat snacks around the globe. Drunken Cow Jerky uses 100% Texas-certified beef to produce the best steak jerky available. No artificial meats, meat fillers, or preservatives other than the salt, as jerky should be. Drunken Cow Jerky is made using all fresh-cut ingredients such as onion, garlic, and various types of pepper. Visit drunkencowjerky.com. I have tried this Drunken Cow Jerky. It is fantastic. They have some that are soaked in whiskey, bourbon. They have a ghost pepper one. I admittedly am a little bit of a wimp when it comes to the spiciness, but other people really, really like that ghost pepper jerky. So Drunken Cow Jerky. Everybody check that out.
That's awesome. I'll have to check that out as soon as I get down from this broadcasting stand. We're just minutes away from the start of the second half, but first let's go check in with our Roughnecks Insider.
Hi, I'm Taylor Cox, and welcome to Roughnecks Ultimate Insider. I'm standing on the field. We're on April 2nd, 2016. A Dallas AUDL Ultimate Frisbee team will take to this very field to open the pro season. So what makes this moment so special? Well, this is the first pro Ultimate Frisbee team to make Dallas their home and join other big notable pro sports teams in this city. So welcome the Dallas Roughnecks. This inaugural season will be exciting and unpredictable as we will take you deep into the world of Ultimate Frisbee and why it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world today. But what is ultimate frisbee? And no, it's not disc golf. But it is a sport that combines the athletic skills of basketball, soccer, and football in a fast-paced, high-flying, defensive-minded, skilled frisbee throwing sport. The action never stops from hug to catch, and now Dallas has one of the best teams in the nation. So what makes the Dallas Roughnecks so exciting that you're going to want to buy your season tickets right now? Well, the owners of the Dallas Roughnecks are following in the greatest history of Dallas pro sports teams and have brought in some of the biggest players in the sport today. Meet the big three of the Dallas Roughnecks: Bo Kittredge, Jimmy Mickle, and Cassidy Ramusid. But the team is stacked with even more than just the star players, as our show's going to take you deep into the combine practices to see who will make the final roster as the season starts. We'll hit the streets with the star players as they discover Dallas for their first time after moving here to get ready for the season. Go into a training session with the players and see what they are doing to get ready physically and mentally for the season. Learn how to play ultimate frisbee and the amazing history of the sport. And even learn more about how the team gives back to their communities through their charity work with local schools and brings awareness to the youth community through the amazing sport of ultimate frisbee. The season starts April 2nd with the first home game, and you have the chance to be part of the ultimate history in the making, as the Dallas Roughnecks look to bring home the 2016 AUDL Championship and their first season as a team. And we're going to take you right inside the action so you can see it all unfold. I'm Taylor Cox, and this is Roughnecks Ultimate Insider.
We're back here on DallasRoughnecks.com. Thanks for tuning in. Right now on the sideline, we have our sideline reporter, Paige Schnorbach, down with Dylan Freechild.
Dylan, your team has been absolutely phenomenal this first half. What do y'all hope to show in the second?
I was just telling the boys I hope that we actually stay calm and collected rather than going out there and trying to, run up the score or do something silly. A lot of the guys on this team think that might be a fun or a good idea, but I think that my role in this team is to keep them grounded a little bit and try to just keep us getting better, because it's hard to practice when so many people are out of town. So we have to treat this as a practice situation also, and having new roles on the field.
So this is the Roughnecks' first season here in Dallas. How are y'all going to take this league to be one of the premier Dallas professional sports teams?
I don't know. I think so far Jim has done a pretty good job of putting on a decent show and making this look a little more professional than other places around the league. I think people continue to work hard. Bo and Jimmy and even the guys who are flying in and dedicating their time to look at what we're supposed to be doing on the field, even though they're not here. So just a lot of time and a lot of effort, having to go above and beyond really, because just meeting and being par isn't going to be good enough anymore.
What do you want people to know about this new team?
That we're actually a lot of fun, and that we like to stay relaxed and try to keep it cool and simple, even though it might seem otherwise.
All right, well, thank you so much, and good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Back.
Paige and Dylan, we are just seconds away from the second half of the new AUDL Texas two-step. The Dallas Roughnecks and the Austin Soul. The Roughnecks up 18-9, as we are just about ready to get going with the third quarter. Thanks for joining in. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald with Paige Schnorbach down on the sidelines. It's been an incredible day so far. It's now night. The sun has gone down, and we are ready for some more Ultimate Disc. Emmy, what are you looking forward to?
Well, the Soul are starting with the disc to start off the second half, so it'll be really interesting to see how they answer. But the Roughnecks have to keep up this pressure. They're not going to have this opportunity to go up by 9 points every game. So they really need to capitalize this. I mean, you can see Matt Jackson zooming down the field. He's ready to play. The scoreboard does not matter.
He was able to get a D earlier, but right now it's going to be A jump for the goal, and that one's going to be knocked away by the Roughneck defenders. Beautiful play by Jacob Anderson, able to get in front of it. It looks like there might have been a foul call. No, doesn't look like it.
I think there maybe was some chatter on the field about it, but the official is already counting down for the Roughnecks to pick up the disc. So that was a clean D. It was
Beautiful
just
play.
Good old-fashioned defense.
Yeah, they had the jump for that disc, just wasn't able to get up against it. There have been some incredible plays on both sides, really. Jared Wolf and Chase Cunningham combining for some highlight level plays on the Austin Soul side. And then the Roughnecks with Bo Kittredge, Jimmy Mickle, Dylan Freechild. You could go anywhere on this Roughnecks roster, as that one's going to be just out of reach.
Jake Anderson breaks away, is poached. It didn't look like his defender followed him at all, but that throw just dropped just a little too blady and just died before it could get to him. And he's really tall too. Jake is no small man, but couldn't quite extend far enough to capture that.
Yeah, it looked like that disc just had a sharp bite to it, just out of the reach of Anderson, as Cunningham's going to get it back. He's been no stranger to throwing that disc really, really far down the field. Orloff is going to dump it back to Cunningham. Cunningham and Orloff been a mainstay as Purcell gets the disc. They've been in the game for a lot of the minutes so far.
And the Roughnecks are playing underneath, but which gives a big opportunity for the Soul to break free, but doesn't look like they're trying to stretch it deep as much as they were the last possession. It's the handlers really trying to work around that, but now Purcell streaking out, clearing out of that handler spot.
Yeah, they're working it a little bit more laterally than they were in the first half. Maybe that's due to the amount of turnovers that were caused. Purcell has it. He's going to throw over the top, a little tomahawk hammer, and that one's going to be caught. What a throw from Purcell into the end zone. And there's the 10th goal of the game for the Austin Soul. That's exactly what they needed coming out of the halftime break.
Purcell had great positioning for that hammer, and the benefit of the hammer is if you're the receiver, you just need to stay there. That is where the hammer's coming. The Roughnecks try to catch up and defend it, but the angle that a hammer comes in, it's very hard to defend, especially there's no float like that throw there.
Jared Wolf with the reception and the goal. He's had a couple today, including one highlight play where he rose up above two Roughnecks and a defender in the opposite end zone from where he just now caught it. Roughnecks still with the 8-point advantage as we are just now getting underway here in the third quarter, excuse me, as that pull's going to be sent deep by Hillis. The Roughnecks going to regain possession as that one's going to fly harmlessly out of bounds, and they'll reset.
Brandon Malachek bringing that out to the middle since the pull went out of bounds.
There's going to be the throw across the middle to Mickle. Mickle's going to send it deep, looking for Freechild. Freechild on the run, unable to get there in time. Looked like at one point he might have had a chance to lay out and make a play on that disc, just unable to get any kind of run on it though. The Soul get the disc back, a chance to cut the deficit to 7. Almost a D there from Costello in the end zone.
The Roughnecks forcing, well, I thought they were forcing backhand. Now it kind of looked like a double team trap there.
The Soul doing a good job this half of completing their passes. Not taking any chances with the long throws so far, and that one's going to be just out of the reach. Looked like that throw was mishandled a little bit.
Laser throw up the line, strike throw up the line there.
Loscorn just couldn't reach, even though he's 6'1", 175. Unable to reach and grab that one. Loscorn out of the University of Texas. A lot of Longhorns on the field for both teams, really. Representing the University of Texas really nicely today.
And a lot of these guys from University of Texas, from the tough club team. Oh.
There's a goal right there as Costello is able to put it to Rasmussen in the middle of the end zone, and there's another Roughneck score, 19-10.
So when there's a lot of confusion in the corner there, sometimes it's just best to stay put. Don't run too much. So Cassidy finds a spot, and his defender just had a difficult time catching up to him.
The Roughnecks doing a good job so far of putting on a show for this crowd, and then those for you watching on the live stream, doing well so far, up by 9 in their first ever franchise game against the new Austin Soul in their first franchise game. A lot of excitement around the AUDL in Texas today.
Yes, and that excitement doesn't come without our sponsors. So we really want to shout out Lifetime Tax Advisors. And you probably think you might pay too much tax. Maybe you're considering a new tax pro. Well, you have till April 15th to do it. So you should contact Lifetime Tax Advisors, and they can help you out there.
Cunningham with it, sends it to Poindexter. Back to Cunningham. Cunningham looking downfield, finds Bennett. Bennett, of course, the brother of the Roughnecks' own Bennett. Matt Bennett is on the Roughnecks and Mitchell Bennett on the Soul. That throw's going to be knocked down. A huge block. That time from Jeremy Langdon on the far side of the field. There's another long throw looking for Langdon again, and those two teammates go up and knock it out of each other's hands. Just miscommunication as they both went up for the disc and couldn't come down.
Langdon going for that bookends, forcing the D and getting the turnover, but his own teammate keeps him from doing that. Soul has the disc.
That one's going to be thrown deep by Cunningham. Roughnecks just a little bit in front of it. They both jumped a little too early. Orloff on the offensive side, and Marshall jumping a little bit too early on the defensive side, as that disc is going to just fall harmly to the ground. Looks like a timeout's going to be called on the field with 7 minutes, just under 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 19-10, the Roughnecks, as the Soul call a timeout, try and regain themselves. They did a good job at the start of the half, being able to come out of the break with a quick point, but instead the Roughnecks have been able to hold on for the rest of the quarter so far.
Austin Soul keeping it a single-digit point game. You think that maybe the Roughnecks will go up 10, and the Soul say, not so fast. We're still hanging in there. Again, we've got a lot of ultimates still to play in this game.
Definitely, with just under 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter and then the fourth quarter still to go, there's enough time for this Soul team to make a run. You talked about it earlier about how Ultimate Disc is a game of runs, and you never know with a young, spunky team like the Austin Soul, a lot of them playing together previously and a lot of them from the same area of Texas. You never know how much of a run they could go on.
And it just takes a few of those athletic plays. So, Jeremy Langdon's D, Ryan Purcell having that great sky.
And there goes Costello in the back of the end zone looking for Marshall. Marshall goes up, and he comes down with the disc. Kai Marshall elevates and makes the play, puts the Roughnecks up by 10.
He just plucked that out of the sky. Kai is tall, but Kai also just approached and timed it perfectly, and you can just see his reach just extended past his defender. Several of his college teammates here on our sideline just went berserk, and rightly so. That was a fantastic play. Kudos to you, Kai. Great job.
Beautiful play in the back of the end zone. The throw coming from almost 3/4 of the field, ending up in the perfect spot for Kai Marshall to make the play and make it that double-digit deficit that you talked about. The Soul now in their biggest disadvantage of the entire game.
And Marshall really made a splash at the combine. That closed tryout, he actually had a layout D against Bo, and that got everybody kind of turning their head saying, okay, well, this guy isn't afraid to go up against anybody. He might be young, but he's athletic and he's got hunger, and it's fantastic.
This Soul team looking for any kind of break that they can. Jared Wolf on the receiving end of this one, and he'll snag it down. A great pass. That's actually not Jared Wolf. That is actually Andrew Walsh with the reception as he's going to throw it in the back of the end zone, and that's going to be a sliding goal for Michael Mathis. Purcell set it up with the long throw to Walsh, and then Mathis ended it up with his cut in the end zone. So the Soul bring it back within 9.
It was really using that break side really well, and Mathis had to extend, but incredible effort on Walsh's part, creating that separation from Jake Anderson so that he could receive that deep reception.
You know, even with the Soul being down by 9, there's definitely some encouraging things coming from their offense. A lot of nice long hucks and nice receptions coming from their cutters as well.
We have Paige standing by with the Larbergs, the parents of the Larbergs. Paige?
I'm here with Dallas Roughneck, Chris and Dylan, parents of the Larberg boys. Welcome. How do you enjoy getting to see your boys play?
It's pretty amazing, you know. They played disc in college, and we enjoyed watching it, but we never thought it would culminate in a professional role with the Dallas Roughnecks.
Do y'all enjoy being an ultimate family?
This is our first ultimate professional game, and so far we're having a great time because they have great wine at these games.
Well done, well done. All right, what do you want to see out of the second half from this team?
Well, our boys are up 20-11. We'd like to see them continue to be ahead and ultimately win the inaugural game of the professional league here in Dallas.
Well, we hope to see y'all here at the rest of the games, and good luck to your boys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paige. As we are back in action, the Roughnecks keeping possession for the entirety of this point. Jimmy Mickle has it on the far side of the field. You can hear the talking from the Soul on the sideline just behind the Loscorns down on the field with that interview with Paige. Definitely not giving up just yet as Kittredge has it just in front of the goal line. He's going to hand it across, and there's the easy score for the Roughnecks.
It was like Ben Laurie did almost like a bunny hop, but he was just so smooth going into the end zone there. It was a nice dish from Bo, and Ben Laurie in stride just keeps it at that 10-point lead. Roughnecks over the Soul.
Some beautiful offensive play, just textbook execution from the Dallas Roughnecks so far. Just under 5.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter, and they find themselves back up by 10.
So you'll notice a lot of players wear receiver gloves so they can help catch well. There's a great brand, great sponsor of ours, Friction Gloves. So whether your goal is to throw further and with more accuracy, catch tough discs, or to keep your hands warm, Friction Gloves will help. www.frictiongloves.com. I know they're very popular, and guys should check them out. Nobody likes drops. You can always avoid drops.
Purcell with gloves on as he starts the offense for the Soul, as there's going to be a foul called in the backfield. Maybe a little bit of pushing. The Roughnecks think it's going their direction.
And it did.
It is going in their direction, backing it
10-yard
up.
penalty.
And the Soul will reset, sending it forward to Bennett.
Darrow with that hard backhand mark, but overplays it a little bit, gets broken on the play.
Poindexter almost overthrew Purcell. Now Walsh. Forward to Orloff. Orloff to Cunningham. Cunningham looking in the back of the end zone. That one's going to be dropped on the diving effort. And he is down. That was Ben Lewis on the bid in the back of the end zone. Just couldn't get there in time. Came up a little shaken up.
Seems like he had to extend pretty far, but that throw was just seemed very low. Well, Lewis put some dirt on it. Shake it off.
It's good to see him
way
up.
to be tough, Ben.
Yeah, it looked like he landed a little awkwardly on that shoulder, but it's good to see him up and walking. He'll stretch it out and play again in just a minute.
Bit of a strawberry there. That won't feel great tomorrow, but I'm glad he's okay.
That was an uncharacteristic miscue from Cunningham, though. He had Lewis open in the front of the end zone. Instead, tried to go for the back pylon and kept it a little low forcing Lewis to make the diving bid and unable to come up with it.
Lori really doing a good job getting out of the double team, but Roughnecks really trying to get out of the end zone. You don't want to turn it over in your own end zone.
Free Child in the middle of the field. Back to Free Child as they're dishing it off to each other.
Free Child is so quick. Heard from other guys who've had to guard him, they just say, we just don't know what he's going to do. He has so many quick feet steps. So, you know, a lot of people try and use that with agility ladders. Dylan puts in the work, but he has just a lot of talent.
And you'll see it right here as he's looking for Barnett in the back of the end zone. That one's going to be knocked down by Cunningham. Nice D right there from the Soul. Cunningham all over the field doing it with the throwing arm and with the defense. As you saw it right there as Barnett was looking for his first goal of the second half. That one's going to be sent deep by Cunningham looking for Orloff. And that one's going to be knocked away and caught off of the rebound. Jared Wolf with another highlight play.
The defensive tip from Kevin Christian was great, but not quite enough.
And there's Purcell with the over-the-top throw into the back of the end zone, and there's a goal from the Soul.
Ben Laurie just misses that D, but it's hard to really judge the path of the disc on those hammers.
It was a beautiful catch off of basically the trash that Jared Wolf was collecting, set up that score for the Soul. And it is a 9-point advantage still for the Roughnecks as they will get the possession back and see what they can do with the disc.
Yes, and thanking more of our sponsors. Twice the Ice is another ice supplier. They're a sponsor here in the Colony. Their owner, Mark and Dibbett Sellers, are been ultimate players for years, huge supporters of the sport, and that's what it really takes is people who really care, and they're able to provide us the ice for practices, ice baths for recovery, and they bring it on demand, so much cheaper and less hassle than having to go to Walmart and wait in a long line, and by then you're probably cold when you really needed your ice bath, which gets you real cold. So check out Twice the Ice.
Especially with the AUDL season being in the middle of the summer, they're going to need that Twice the Ice here in Texas. Both of these franchises brand new to the AUDL, both Texas teams. I like to call it the Texas two-step myself. New rivalry kindled between the Roughnecks and the Soul. Right now the Roughnecks doing a good job moving the disc around laterally as they pass it back to Rasmussen. Back forward.
Really great spread on the field, continuing in that hoe stack, even as they get into the red zone.
And there's an opening over the top, and that one's going to be knocked down. What a play from the Soul defender. Looks like there might have been a foul, some contact on that. Chris Sackman was the one that went up and knocked it away. And it looks like the Roughnecks will get another chance at it. It's kind of a break for the Roughnecks as Kai Marshall's throw was just a little bit high and over the top of Dalton Smith.
Dalton Smith did a great job really isolating himself on that break side with just him and his defender.
And there's the goal as Rasmussen was able to break free for another Roughnecks score. Roughnecks now up by 10 again, 22-12 after that last goal. An incredible crowd out here tonight in the Colony. Thank you for those joining us here on DallasRoughnecks.com. We're excited to bring you this first ever franchise game for the new Dallas Roughnecks, and they are not disappointing so far, 22-12. What are they doing right now, Emmy, that really has your attention?
Well, on that point, they did a great job using the break side, and, you know, I said they were in that horizontal stack as they were heading into the red zone, but then it looked like they had more of their cutters flush that force side, so it really isolated Dalton Smith on the break side, so it was a one-on-one matchup, and he was able to draw the foul. And thank you, everybody. We see all of the great tweets on hashtag Roughnecks Live. Keep it coming. All of the watch parties down in Austin. Friction gloves, love the picture. We're so glad for your support. I love those Roughnecks branded friction gloves. Those are really sharp.
Bit of an injury update for the Austin Soul. Ben Lewis, who dove after that disc in the back of the end zone, is getting treated. His shoulder and his elbow are getting taped up on the sideline. And that one's going to be sent deep for Jared Wolf, and he's got that one easily for the score. Broke free from the Roughnecks defense. Dan Emmons just looked like he lost him and couldn't catch up. Jared Wolf really showing his stuff in tonight's game.
Jared Wolf is a very experienced player, and he's another one of these double wide guys, and he is just so fast. Dan Emmons is a fantastic defender. It looks like maybe he was playing him underneath the disc a little bit, and so Jared was able to sneak off and speed off and get that score.
1:09 remaining in the third quarter. The Roughnecks still up 22-13. It's a beautiful night here in the Colony. Top Golf in the distance. We have a little bit of fog rolling over. Probably it looks like the far side of the field. You can see it in the lights reflecting. But overall, a nice night. The wind has died down from the start. The opening pool, it was quite windy. We were talking about what the impact the wind would have, and instead it decided to die down once the sun set in the distance. And the Roughnecks will get another chance here to set up their offense as that pool came back toward the Soul. Good field possession for the Roughnecks.
The pull came down right around about the brick mark, but just not quite center field. So that's certainly a yardage advantage that the Roughnecks need to take advantage of, swinging it all the way across the field. I think the Roughnecks are doing a good job keeping the field spread, not crowding the disc too much, and then keeping multiple options always open.
Rasmussen is able to find Costello. That was incredible.
It's like, I think the disc went through Pollock's arms, but Costello said, I've got it. I'm not letting this go. They're able to keep moving the disc back and forth. Malachek with the jump into the end zone.
And before that throw from Rasmussen to Costello, I was about to talk about maybe getting Brandon Malachek a score, or what the Roughnecks call Muffin. That's his nickname on the Roughnecks squad. I was looking for him to get a score, and he was able to take advantage of that play. Costello looked like he caught the disc, like you said, as it went through Pollock's arms. It was
fell
definitely
down on the
weird.
ground, still holding the disc. That is the kind of effort and play that you need, and that what you would expect on the professional level. Kudos.
That was an incredible play from the captain, Matt Yeti Costello. And that set up the Malachek score. Now 23-13 with 28 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. The Soul doing a better job this quarter. Only a 1-point deficit if you count if you started the scoring over at halftime. Doing a good job of keeping it close. Just unable to get on a full run as the Roughnecks have still executed on offense. Wolf with the disc right now, and that one's going to be picked off. Came out of the woodworks.
Kevin Christian, another OU grad. Squirrely lefty with the hammer.
And there it is in the back of the end zone, and these OU fans on our side are going nuts.
Another OU connection point. Alum to current student. He'll probably say, oh, I taught him a few things, which in fairness, he did teach him many things. So.
Kai Marshall again with the reception in the back of the end zone makes it an 11-point deficit, the Roughnecks' biggest lead of the game, with 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Only took 21 seconds on that one. Not a whole lot of time after the pull from the last score to the next score with Marshall in the back of the end zone. A nice play by Kevin Christian to be able to come off and intercept that disc on the hook.
Shout out to more of our sponsors, Shakertons in Castle Hills. You can get amazing cocktails and food in Castle Hills. Shakertons, a lot of craft cocktails, a lot of inventive drinks, and It's called Shakertons. I mean, you would expect craft cocktails from them, and they deliver. And they're a sponsor, so thank you guys. Please support them.
Cunningham throwing it back. It looks like Orloff's going to send it deep to the end zone. He did get it off. That one's going to be caught, but not in the end zone. Orloff sent it deep, and Michael Mathis was able to come up with the reception, but not close to the end zone. And after the third quarter, the Dallas Roughnecks in their first franchise game are leading 24-13. What else are you wanting to see in this final quarter from the Roughnecks, Emmy?
I expect the Roughnecks to open up their roster a little bit. With 5 of the Roughnecks players on Team USA competing in the World Games and Guts Championship this June in London, that takes a lot of our top players out of the roster. So they really need to work through their entire staff to see the kind of depth that they have. So I think a good opportunity for the Roughnecks is to go look at that depth, see what they've got, see how does it work when you don't have Bo, Jimmy, Dylan out there on the field, Cassidy, and you know, it's that challenge. Well, Paige is standing by with another fantastic interview. Paige, tell us what you got.
A little bit? Absolutely. So we use a super duper app that tracks pretty much anything you could want to know. Every catch to the next person, anybody who scores a goal, all the assists, all the drops, any Callahans, things like that.
And how can people see this?
It's actually on every team's website. They'll have a page that covers their stats. So you can check it out.
All right, thank you and good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Paige. Another great interview down on the sideline as we are just about to get ready again for the fourth quarter. The Roughnecks up by 11, 24-13. And as you were talking about it before the interview, maybe opening up the roster a little bit, getting some of those newer players to the AUDL a little bit more playing time, being able to expand their opportunities, expand their outreach or maybe their depth as a roster. You never think that there could be bad things of building such a strong roster, having 5 national team players, but at the same time, you're going to have a couple weeks where you're without those guys on your team, so it's good to have depth in that case.
Exactly, and it's not only the depth, but a lot of these players outside of the top, big 6 are unfamiliar with the AUDL style of play as well. So, in their practices, they're replicating these AUDL scenarios. The team practices with refs. Many of the refs you see on the field tonight are at their practices, so they can get used to practicing with officials. But just getting this AUDL game experience is crucial, and it lets the whole roster just build and create more opportunities for more folks to make plays. But it seems right now we're still at our top roster, folks. And
there's Mickle going deep, looking for Kittredge. Kittredge loses the hat. He dives out and makes the play in the end zone. Bo Kittredge.
What a catch.
And that is why he is the 2-time reigning MVP of the AUDL.
When you think, okay, maybe he can't reach out and get it. I don't know if he can chase that down. He throws his hat off and makes an incredible sliding bid.
That's when you know it's serious, is whenever Bo loses the hat.
Don't make me take my hat off. They made him take his hat off, and he showed us what happens. But I think it's great.
I wonder if that's a new stat line for the Roughnecks. Bo goals with hat, Bo goals without hat. That was definitely a highlight reel catch as he laid out full body to make the play and put the Roughnecks up by 12.
And if it works, keep doing it. Matt Jackson zooming down. Yeti, Matt Costello, Chris Larberg too.
They're not giving up at all right now, as there almost was a D right there. You've seen Matt Jackson, he had a play streaking down the field earlier in the game for a nice D. As the Soul are going to hand it back to Cunningham. Cunningham to Purcell. The Soul still with their first team in, of course, as they're going to grab it on this near side, sending it deep, looking for Orloff in the end zone. And that one's going to be snagged out of the air.
Dylan was behind the pack of Orloff and Matt Bennett and was just eyeing it, and just like somebody might come up for their layup approach in basketball, he's like, all right, these are the steps I need to take to snag this sucker out of the sky.
Daniel Poindexter almost had a D. Instead, this disc is going long. Another layout opportunity. No, it's an easy catch. And score for Chris Larberg.
Matt Jackson with the deep put.
Oh, man.
That was hanging on a rope, but Larberg had excellent closing speed there.
Don't you love it whenever the Roughnecks connect like that? The long throw.
And it was
Larberg.
so quick, too. I just with the pace of the game and kind of how that goes, it just didn't seem like they were expecting that. But Paige has another interesting person for us to hear from. Paige, talk to us.
From the cops.
I'm here with Jim Garansher, the owner of the Dallas Roughnecks, and his daughter Laura. Jim, tell me what your thoughts are on this very first game for your team.
Pretty exciting. I mean, there's probably about 1,000 people there. We've had a great time. The Roughnecks are looking awesome. We have high expectations, but I think they're meeting that, and it's been great.
What do you want people to know about this team and about Ultimate in general?
You know, it's all about community. I think this proves it. You know, people showed up. People are here to enjoy the game. Everybody's supporting the team, and we're looking for fans. I mean, we want people to come out and check out this game and realize how cool it is, and that it's here to stay, for sure.
And what's really unbelievable that both of these teams are playing their first game in the league, and this crowd is amazing.
It is exciting. You know, it's their inaugural season for both of them. The first game, everybody's nervous. The first point took forever, which is kind of hilarious, actually. But let's see what these guys can do. I mean, we're looking forward to the season.
And this is actually an Ultimate family because his daughter Laura plays as well in college. Laura, tell me about that.
Yes, I go to UT, and so I play for that team. It's called Melee, and we're actually having a great season. We just won our last tournament, Syntex, and we're ranked pretty high in the country, so we hope to make a great run at nationals.
Are you proud of your dad for all that he's starting here in Dallas?
Yes, I'm very proud. He's always had this dream, and he's always been so passionate about Frisbee, and I'm glad I get to see his dream come true. This is probably one of his happiest nights he's ever had, if you can tell, so this is a lot of fun.
And you're involved with the team as well. What do you do?
I'm actually the vice president, and so I deal with player relations. For example, I helped find Roughnecks headquarters, which was pretty difficult because they're pretty high maintenance about what they wanted. But basically player relations and different stuff like that.
And all I can say is drink up, Melee.
Well, that's amazing, and y'all are amazing. Congratulations on everything.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Paige. During the interview, what a play from Ethan Pollock in the end zone for the Soul. Those of you at home were able to see that one. That was an incredible play.
I think we all had the collective, oh! Those are so fun to watch. Shout out to Big Jim and his daughter Laura. I was able to coach Laura on the U19 YCC team last summer. Shout out to the Texas Tango girls and coaches who are watching tonight. Laura's a phenomenal player in her own right for Texas Melee's club team.
Sackman was able to elevate and get a nice reception over the top of Bo Kittredge. As Kinney's going to dive back, a bad throw, unable to adjust and make the play. Rasmussen to Malachek. Malachek fake toward Bo. Instead gives it to him in the back of the end zone, and a diving effort comes up short, and Bo Kittredge with another goal in the back of the end zone.
Excellent inside out. When coaches talk about pump fakes, the importance of pump fakes, ladies and gentlemen, this is your example right here. You can see how he really moved not only his mark, but then also Bo's defender. So then he could, granted it was an incredible thread the needle throw as well, but that gave him that space to be able to get that throw off.
It was a beautiful throw right back in the end zone. Another great play from Brandon Malachek, as the Dallas Roughnecks are now up by 13, 27-14 with 9:21 remaining in the game.
We have more sponsors. We can't do it without them. Thank you, Sea Blue Travel, Vivian, the owner, Vivian Scott, the owner of Sea Blue Travel, another Ultimate player, always a huge supporter of the Dallas Ultimate community. Big volunteer. She's on my league team, just an all-around nice person, and owns a great business. So if you have travel agent booking needs, contact Vivian at Sea Blue Travel.
Cunningham with the disc. He's going to send it back to Purcell. Purcell forward to Bennett. Bennett back to Cunningham. Cunningham trying to find any kind of room. Good defense, and that one's going to be saved.
Oh, it's up.
Looks like, yep,
Guess
they're going to
that
call
was
it.
the foot block, or was it just a very angled
I
throw?
believe it was a foot block. It looked like he got a hold of it off of the original throw. That one's going to be sent deep by Bennett, looking for Purcell, the diving effort, and it's going to be dropped by Purcell.
Intimity.
Heard the footstep from Dan Emmons, and Purcell just couldn't handle it after the diving try at it.
When Danimal streaks across you, you gotta make sure you're holding on to that disc.
There's a deep throw coming right here. It's going to be held up. Anderson is going to try and keep it in bounds. And that was going to be knocked out. Good defense there from Pollock on the far side.
Inside out backhand, but just hung a little bit too long in the air, really gave Pollock the opportunity to close in on Anderson.
The Soul trying to get a run. Clock ticking down. 7:45 remaining as that one's going to be sent deep. Looking, catching is Andrew Walsh. He has Bennett streaking up the middle of the field. He's going to dump it off in the back, and the D is not there in time, and Bennett gets a goal for the Soul.
Highly athletic play. Mitchell Bennett had a very good angle and line, so he could cut off, get there quickly, and have that half a step available to make that score.
Yeah.
I'm sure his brother's proud, even though he's on the other team.
Larberg, another one of the brothers that are featured in today's matchup, just barely out of reach. He had the diving try at it, just unable to come up with a block with the D to keep that from falling. That makes it 27-15, 7:32 remaining. The Roughnecks will get possession back as they try they try to grow their advantage. A beautiful night here in the Colony, a nice crowd on hand. Thank you for joining in here on DallasRoughnecks.com. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald with Paige Schnorbach down on the field as our sideline reporter. It's been a great night here for AUDL action. Roughnecks and the Austin Soul.
And for our viewers at home, you may have friends that say, oh, I missed the live broadcast. Not to worry, about tomorrow or so, we should have it up, this feed up on the Roughnecks YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out. And we're just so excited that we're able to bring this to you guys from all over the world, all over the country. The goal of this broadcast and of the Roughnecks is really to grow the sport. This is a sport that so many of us know and love, and we want to be able to introduce it to a really new audience, and that happens by you guys tuning in, so thank you.
Costello trying to find Lori in the front of the end zone. While you were talking, though, an interesting play. Dylan Freechild was running and kind of got caught up. It looked like he tripped over his cleats, tripped over the ground, and may have tweaked something in an ankle. He came up limping a little bit. He was able to continue the point and finish, or not the point, but continue the possession. And able to finish it. I wonder if they're going to make a substitution for him right here.
It looked like someone was talking to him, and he made the brush it off motion with his shoulders. I can't exactly read his lips all the way from here, but it appears the Spikezilla is good. He's fighting through.
Man, he is a fiery player, Mr. Freechild is on this Roughnecks roster. He's definitely a tough one. We'll just try and brush it off. He looks fine, not limping anymore, as I can see from here. So we take a quick look at our beautiful crowd out there. The bleachers completely filled with new Roughneck fans. The hill off in the end zone definitely filled as well. A lot of excitement surrounding this new franchise, this new sport to come to the DFW area.
And it's one of the fastest growing sports in the world. Last year was recognized by the International Olympic Committee as an official sport. And so what that means is that, ultimate disc, in other countries it's called flying disc, is able to be considered for consideration, or is up for consideration for future events in the Olympics, which, as we know, there are other sports like curling. I don't know if many of us have watched curling before we saw it in the Olympics, but that was able to gain so much traction, and that's really what ultimate players hope an Olympic recognition would do, to even have even more followers and players especially. Anybody can play. You just need a Frisbee and
an open field.
Right, and preferably not just yourself. You need someone to throw it to. People play on the beach.
That would probably make sense.
I played in Japan on a schoolyard and a dirt outfield in a schoolyard. But it's just an amazing community across the globe.
Having a lot of fun out here in the colony. I've seen nothing but smiles on the faces around us. I assume that's because they're having fun and not just because of the big lead that the Dallas Roughnecks are having. You talked about how they call this sport flying disc around the world. That could be double meaning as the sole score right here, but that could be double meaning from flying, as the speed from some of these athletes out here on the field is incredible. From both teams, the Soul and from the Roughnecks, the athleticism is incredible.
It really is, and the flying catches, I really liken that to outfielders. When Josh Hamilton was in his prime, he would make these incredible outfield catches, and I would look at those and say, that really looks like an ultimate catch. I mean, I think he would be great at ultimate anyway, but there are just so many skills that translate from other sports that liken. Paige is standing by with another awesome interview subject. Paige, who you got?
I'm with Keith, who works as a nationwide ocean spray technician. Tell me what that entails.
It's an overspray technician.
Overspray.
When vehicle gets damaged, when they paint something nearby, we actually remove the contaminant from the vehicle.
Okay, and tell me about this bus behind us. You had something to do with bringing that here.
Yep, we just brought it back from California with Ted, who plays for the Roughnecks, and stopped by the Grand Canyon. And Ted actually ran down the Grand Canyon and back up the Grand Canyon, 17 miles. So the Roughnecks, competition is going to have to look out.
This is nothing for them. Well,
Yeah,
thank you
nothing.
so much.
Nothing.
Oh,
Thanks,
sorry.
Paige.
Good story.
The Soul able to regain possession with a
He
Ethan
got
Pollock
up at
turnover as he was able to run in front of the disc and make the interception. You can hear from the sideline the Soul talking about trying to force the Roughnecks to throw more than 10 passes, because they believe that if the more passes they make them throw, is Freechild able to intercept that one and send it the other way. The Soul believe that the more passes they can force the Roughnecks to make, the more mistakes that they'll end up causing.
Yes, and it's a possession game. Freechild and Dalton Smith are one of the best possession offense players.
And there's
in the
another
game.
score from Kai Marshall, showing up today as he was able to run in the end zone and grab that disc with his fan club running down after him as well. Smiles all around from Marshall as he's able to grab another score for the Roughnecks.
I think his Apes of Wrath teammates are just on cloud 9. They have they have a cutout of his head. I overheard them as they were walking in. They were like, I don't know how many players have cutouts of their players' heads, but Kai does.
Definitely some fan support, a nice following for the Roughnecks. New franchise, good to see all the fans out here. Same thing with the Austin Soul. You talked about the watch parties in Austin. So much excitement around these two franchises as they begin their first AUDL seasons. Of course, the AUDL in their 5th season as a league, quickly growing the sport in some incredible ways as the pool is sent downfield. The Soul down by 12. It is now 28-16 in favor of the Roughnecks. Just under 5 minutes remaining in this one.
And it looks like they're trying to open, the Soul's trying to open it up, but the Roughnecks are really trying to make certain of the last back so they don't have another deep shot kind of get away from them.
It's another play Sent forward to Walsh. There's going to be a foul called in the back. It's like a holding.
So it's a 10-yard penalty. Paul Starkle takes it back. Paul Starkle, a handler for Texas State Buckets. So real squirrely handler. He played on Cosa Nostra, the mixed team, with Eric Hillis last season.
We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. A lot of these players have played with each other. Both teams having some sets of players. As there's a diving effort, waiting for the signal from the referee, and it is good. And it is a score for the Austin Soul. A nice play and a diving effort as he was able to come up with it for the Soul. Makes it a 28-17. So we see the replay right here. Cunningham able to lay out and make the play. Came up just pleading to the referees to give him that goal, and they ended up giving it to him. 28-17, 3:41 remaining in the fourth.
I think the Roughnecks I think they're doing a great job, maintaining that lead. But if you look at the gap between the two, like you alluded to earlier, the deficit that the Soul faced after the first half, they have probably scored, like the deficit hasn't doubled, from that. They've really kept it close, but not close enough.
Yeah, the Soul have played much better in the second half. It was just the run that the Roughnecks were able to go on at the end of the first half that really shot them in the foot, really. It didn't allow for much of a chance for the Soul. There's still 3.5 minutes remaining, but at the same time, the Roughnecks with the possession as they're trying to work it around. Rasmussen with it, looking deep, looking for Bo Kittredge again. And this one's going to be a little bit of an easier goal for Kittredge as he lets it fall into his arms for another Roughnecks goal.
That was a perfectly placed huck that Cassidy and Bo have completed many, many times. And that's that chemistry that both teams will gain more and more as the season progresses. Those two guys are familiar because they've played San Jose Spiders. They played
won
San
2
Francisco
championships
Revolvers.
together.
Exactly. But there's a lot of chemistry that can be gained throughout the season. So it'll be really interesting to see next week too in the rematch down in Austin how both teams will adjust either way.
That's right. A week from now, April 9th, will be the next rematch of this new AUDL Texas two-step between the Dallas Roughnecks and the Austin Soul. 29-17, just over 3 minutes remaining as the pool is sent deep and corralled by the Soul. Orloff with it.
Right. Cassidy staying really close to Ryan Purcell.
Not giving any room to work. Back to Orloff.
The Soul do a really good job of cycling through their handlers, so they don't keep the same 3 people back. You see Purcell swung it and then struck upfield, so he could have gone deep if that opportunity was there. It wasn't, so he came back and then resumed within that handler slot.
Walsh with it, back to Purcell. A diving effort just comes up a little bit short for Cassidy Rasmussen. Walsh back to Purcell. Purcell's going to send it deep. Looking for either Cletton or Wolf. That was going to be knocked away by Jackson, who went in between both of them to make the D.
Jackson's closing speed on that play was just fantastic and kind of made a sandwich. He was the filling of the Soul sandwich there, tipping that disc away.
Matt Jackson, definitely an unspoken hero on the defensive side for the Roughnecks. As good as the offense has been, he has been incredible on the defensive side, and he makes a play right there to save the offense.
I have to shout out Matt Jackson is traveling from Fayetteville, Arkansas. So I've got to shout out all the players watching in Fayetteville, friends and fans of the Roughnecks. Congrats to Ted with the kick spike score there.
Beautiful throw ending with a Ted Barnett score. Beautiful play by the Roughnecks. makes it a 30 spot in their first franchise game. 30-17 with just under 2 remaining. But like you were saying, Matt Jackson, he's all over the field. He's not afraid to lay out if he has to.
Matt Jackson played on an Arkansas club team for many years called Ludicrous Speed. I think we could say Ludicrous Speed helped describe that closing speed he had on getting that D there.
Incredible, and that wasn't a bad throw at all from Parcell either.
No.
It was placed right in between Clutton and Wolf, and then Jackson was able to go up and knock it down, ending in the score. And then not to mention the save that he had to be able to grab the disc from falling to the ground off of the bad throw. All around great play, that point from Matt Jackson. This pull is going to be sent deep into Soul territory.
Chris Larberg just zooming down. I'm so impressed. But that's the kind of effort that you need. Even when it's late in the game, you can never relent, because that lets up on that mental toughness, and the mental toughness is just one of those intangibles that really affect teams.
And this one's going to be sent back in the middle of the end zone and knocked away.
Dan Emmons with the tip.
The Danimal. And you see the excitement coming up from that play.
Although
the Soul was looking for Carson Wilder on that.
There was a whistle on the play, which I think it resulted in Dan's frustration.
Man.
So foul called. Soul get the disc on the goal line. And as we're counting down for the rest of the game, we do want to mention that we do have a really fun after party if you're in the DFW area. It's about, you've got time once the game's over. Get in your car, hit the Dallas North Tollway, and head to Scruffy Duffy's that shops at Legacy. We have food specials. There are drink specials, beer, and mention the Roughnecks when you go. Thank you, Scruffy Duffy's. They're a great partner for us.
What an after party it will be after the Roughnecks will secure this first victory in franchise history. We're going to have a quick injury timeout. It looks like somebody is cramping up for the Roughnecks down on the field. We have 46 seconds remaining. It's a beautiful night. It's been an incredible night. Opening night in the AUDL. 30-17 is the score as we are going to get back underway here. Ethan Pollock with the disc. The 6'6", 205, just giant for the Soul. A former Cornell student. So he's not just long, he's smart as well.
It's a double threat.
He can play some ultimate disc as well, as there's going to be a push called against, it looks like that one will be against Ben Laurie.
So the Soul essentially get it on the goal line. Dalton Smith defending Paul Starkle.
Looks like there's going to be a timeout called by the Soul. There's exactly 30 minutes left on the clock.
30 seconds.
Oh, did I say 30 minutes? I am sorry. 30 seconds remaining on the clock. I just want more ultimate. That's all I want.
Exactly. Is it April 9th yet?
Exactly. A great game so far from both sides. Emmy, who would be your player of the game right now if you had to choose for the Roughnecks?
I would give my player of the game, I said it at halftime, I'm going to give it to Cassidy Rasmussen. I think he played really, really intense on both sides of the disc. And, he had some excellent puts, but then excellent possession. I don't think he threw deep shots just for the sake of throwing deep shots or just to have the disc on a certain selection on the field. So kudos to Cassidy. That said, there were so many players on the Roughnecks who made phenomenal plays.
It was a roster full effort tonight in this soon-to-be victory. That one's going to be sent over the top in the back of the end zone, and that one's going to be caught for the Austin Soul score.
Dylan Larberg making a late attempt to try and snatch that out from behind, but couldn't get there quite quick enough. So that brings the O-line back on the field.
27 seconds remaining in this one. The Roughnecks now up by 12, 30-18. Just all around great great game, great night for Ultimate Disc here in the Colony. Thanks again to the Five Star Sports Complex for hosting the Dallas Roughnecks for tonight's match.
The city of the Colony has just been incredible, working with the Roughnecks, with the stands, able to paint the logo on the center of the field, you know, having these facilities here, and it's so centrally located. The DFW area is a very large metropolitan area, but while we're north of Dallas, we're right off of a major highway, and that just makes it really easy for fans to come out. So if you are at home and you live in the DFW area and you chickened out and didn't come out tonight, we really want you here April 23rd as we take on the Roughnecks take on the Jacksonville Cannons. We will have a live stream there, but it's so much better in person.
It really is.
If you can get to the Colony, get to Colony. Our broadcast is fantastic. I think our broadcast is phenomenal, but in person is even better. So come check it out.
Just a couple passes, couple completions away from locking this one up. Just one or two more, and the Roughnecks will call it a victory. Malachek looking to try and break out, and there's going to be a call. Just a lot of fouling around, and the clock will stop at 4 seconds, and that'll basically end this one.
So really tight double team there, but Malachek really able to go through, throws up the big hammer to Kai. Marshall couldn't quite hang on to it. There's the ball game, but there are some chatter on the field. The crowd is certainly reacting.
Yeah.
But we're waiting to hear from our head official, Julie Morris.
Trying to see what the call actually is. It looks like they're going to get another chance with 7 seconds remaining to try and see if they can close this game out. Roughnecks is going to pass it back and send it deep to Dylan Freechild. He's going to send it in the back of the end zone, knocked down. And that's going to do it. The buzzer sounds, and the Dallas Roughnecks start their franchise history with 1 win and no losses with the defeat of the Austin Soul 30-18 here tonight. A beautiful game all around for the new franchise. There was a lot of excitement surrounding the Roughnecks with the roster that they had built. Emmy, what do you think? What are your final thoughts on this one?
I think that the Dallas Roughnecks really lived up to the hype. And I'm pretty sure Big Jim Garansher has a big smile on his face that all the investment that he's put into the Big Six, but notably those that were playing today, Bo, Jimmy, Cassidy, Dylan, they really earned their title. And then from there, I think it really trickled down through the rest of the roster. I thought the offense maintained really good possession. Defense was very aggressive and also maintained that possession once they turned it over. You know, that's how teams are going to win games, by getting those defensive conversions. So I think that fans all over the world can see we've got a pretty exciting season in store, and I know I am just thrilled as can be that we get to be at the forefront to witness some history.
Definitely coming into the season, before even stepping on the field, the Roughnecks had the #1 ranking in the AUDL power rankings before they even were able to play a game. So a lot of pressure, and the team definitely lived up to it as they finished shaking hands with the respectable Austin Soul. Played their hearts out in the game, but the Roughnecks were just too much for this one. They'll have another shot at it next week, though, April 9th in Austin. The first Austin Soul home game of their franchise history will be next week, as they'll get another shot at the Roughnecks. Dallas, on the other hand, will try and go down there and start the sweep of the new Texas two-step. The first leg of the new rivalry is definitely definitely went in the favor of the Roughnecks with the 30-18 victory.
And you never know. Austin Soul on their home turf. They're playing at House Park Stadium down there in central Austin. And the home turf with the home crowd, who knows? They could come out even stronger. I think if they come out stronger in the second half or in the first half, unlike today, they will have a better chance. We have Paige standing by with some post-game interviews. Paige, take it away.
I'm here with Cassidy after they won their first game. Cassidy, your team made a huge statement. What did you think about the game?
I thought it was great. The best part for me was that the intensity was high all the way through. We didn't get out in front and really take the foot off the gas at all. I think that's something that we need to keep going all season, get off on the right foot.
So this was Dallas's first exposure to having a professional ultimate disc team. What do you want the fans to take away?
I hope they had a great time. I think we put a lot of effort into getting people out here and making sure it's a spectacle, and I just want them to enjoy it. I thought there were some great plays, and hopefully we give them a reason to come back.
How do you feel about being a player for Dallas now?
I'm excited for it. There's a lot of people on this team that I'm excited to play with, people that I wouldn't have a chance to otherwise, and I'm grateful for what Jim put together here.
Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us here on DallasRoughnecks.com. Make sure and join us for our next home game on April 23rd. Emmy, what are some other final thoughts for tonight's game? It was an all-around great night, a victory for the Roughnecks, of course, 30-18, an incredible show of the sport and just a lot of fun for everybody who came out and hopefully for all of those who watched us on cam today. What are some other final thoughts?
Well, I think it's fair to say that the Roughnecks put on a pretty entertaining show for our fans in person and at home. So we want to thank you guys again for watching. Make sure that you keep up with us on our social media channels. We're on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. We're going to have a Snapchat filter for our next home game, April 23rd. So even if you're watching at home, you can snap us and let us know all the way across the country. If you do have somebody who wanted to watch the game and they weren't able to, it will be available on our YouTube channel starting tomorrow. So that's Sunday in Dallas time. And you can just expect some awesome highlights and plays as this team just grows and grows and grows throughout this season. It's going to be so exciting.
It's a lot of excitement surrounding the Dallas Roughnecks and the Austin Soul and the AUDL in general. Thanks again for joining us here. Thanks to everybody for everybody that was able to put this on with Game On Sports Productions. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside Emmy Fitzgerald and for Paige Dorbach down on the field. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
And I think we have Bo Kittredge available on the field.
Actually, never mind.
So the man himself, who was born skying people, he hails from Alaska, but hates being cold. I'm sure you didn't know that about Bo. He's a children's author. He has tried putting a video game together. He's just a man of many talents. He also went to Colorado for college, lives in the Bay Area.
He's also very involved with the Eric Foundation as well.
He is, and it's a really neat story. He worked with owner Jim Garansher. They were both living in the Bay Area and said, hey, let's do this thing. Bo, talk to us.
I'm with Bo Kittredge, the captain of this team. Bo, this was not your first rodeo in professional ultimate, but it was for Dallas. How do you feel about the game?
Amazing. Everybody came together and coalesced in such a good way that I was very nervous the last few practices. We played not exactly great, and finally getting everyone here who was out of town and seeing everyone mesh together in this kind of more cohesive unit was something that I hoped would happen, and then getting to see happen with these beautiful fields and beautiful fans and everyone really excited. There's just a wonderful energy about the field, and this is kind of how I want Ultimate to be, is everyone out, crowded around the field, having a good time, and seeing it finally come to fruition after 3 to 4 to 5 months of hard work is just awesome. I just wanted to kind of sit back and let all the players kind of have their time and their glory, and I think they did. And I think that we're going to get even better as the season goes along. We're going to make even more highlights and even more fun for the fans. It's just going to be a great time. I hope that you guys keep coming back too, and looking forward to it.
Yeah, why should Dallas fans rally around this team?
I think it's not only is it the personnel is wonderful. Not only is the personnel wonderful, but we have a great community here at the Colony, and everyone is kind of brought together to help this team and build this culture around here and build the stadium, and having everyone here supporting us will just build on that energy.
Well, it was a great game to watch. Congratulations.
Thank you. I hope you see you all next game.
Thanks, Bo and Paige. An incredible game from Bo Kittredge, and for the rest of this team, the Dallas Roughnecks, what are you most excited to see going on the rest of the season?
I'm excited to see the additional chemistry that they're going to develop.
Oh, yeah.
Right now, there are a lot of athletic plays being made. There's really great disc movement, but I know that there's more that they really want to accomplish, and I'm just excited to see all of that gel and come together. And there are a lot of tough teams, especially in our South Division. So it'll be really neat to see how the Roughnecks stack up against these other teams in the South Division and then moving on towards the rest of the league. It's going to be a great season.
Definitely exciting. Now we get to wrap it up. Thanks again to everybody at Game On Sports Productions for putting on this incredible broadcast. Thanks again from myself, Kyle Yeomans, alongside Emmy Fitzgerald and Paige Schnorbach down on the field. Join us next time on April 23rd for more Dallas Roughnecks Ultimate Frisbee. I'll see you next time.